The NFL season is here, and the Lockdown Defense Sports Network welcomes you to another NFL season. We are here to give you a front row seat to the pulse of the NFL. Join us every Tuesday night as we break down the latest news, dissect the hottest headlines, and fire off fearless predictions that might shape the future of the league. From the locker room drama to game-changing plays, we're just not watching football, we're living it. As the entire hit squad with young RG Robert Garcia, Coach Mike Dub, the real AG Alex Givens, and yours truly, Coach Defense, joins forces with the NFL Nation Live crew, Ref Guru, Violator, and the Saudi pirate himself, Captain Jack Rackham. So buckle up, because this isn't your average recap. This is the Lockdown Blitz, where the takes are bold, the insights are gritty, and the passion runs deep. Let's go. To all my heavy hitters and lockdown defenders, welcome to the Lockdown Blitz. I'm your host, Coach Defense. Alongside with me, the hit squad, my guy, Coach Mike Dub, young RG Robert Garcia, the real AG Alex Givens, and we're joined, of course, by the NFL Nation Live crew, Ref Guru, and the Saudi pirate himself, Captain Jack Rackham. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Yar! Yar! Yar!
By tuning into the Lockdown Defense Sports Network.
We're in the building. Gentlemen,
Sir.
Let's go around the room real quick. Week 4 was definitely not good for most of us.
Whoa.
Wasn't good for most of us. The only person that's really happy at this moment or relieved is probably AG, but we'll get to him. So, coming back around, Mike, good brother, how you feeling? What's going on out there? You're muted, so I'll let you know that before you start talking. Yeah, I see you muted on there. I'll mute your mic and let everybody know how you feeling.
Feeling all right, man. Feeling all right. Seasons has its ups and downs. I'm not going to get into, all the details of the weekend and all that, but, we'll bounce back. But I'm feeling good.
Okay. All right. Young RG Robert Garcia, how you feeling over there?
Came back down to earth, huh, Coach?
Yeah.
Man, that was a humbling one.
Yeah, for sure.
Feeling good. Week 4, we're right into it. 2 for 3 on my bets this past weekend, so
Yes,
we're coming back.
Indeed. Let them know. Let them know. Okay. All right. My guy, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Ref Guru. How you doing, good sir?
Good. I think if you're 0-4, you're on the clock.
That is a fact. That is a fact.
True that.
Oh, yeah. That is for sure. We got a couple of people that's in that ballpark already, for sure. Captain Jack Rackham, the Saudi pirate himself. How you doing, good sir?
I'm good. I got my brand new, to replace my old brand new power chair delivered today, so I don't have to go around in a funky Kansas City red crap loaner power chair anymore until the airlines break this one.
Oh, okay.
Hey, I was gonna say, man, the hot rod red looked good.
Hot red.
You know what?
Hot red.
It actually was a nice chair aside from the colors, but it was friggin', and I caught myself. It was friggin' heavy, 180 pounds, and that doesn't work when you're trying to get an Uber ride and crap.
Yeah,
That's a fact. That is a fact. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Real AG Alex Givens, good sir, with the one person that got to win this week on this channel. How
Yes,
you feeling?
sir. Oh, I'm feeling great, brother. Had a great fantasy week for your boy, and then my squad dominated, and I know the Ravens are banged up, but two things can be true, and them being banged up and the Chiefs looking pretty solid in that game. So I'm feeling good rolling into week 5.
I like it. All right. So yeah, like I said, week 4 was definitely a one for the books. I mean, we had a lot of things going on. I still don't feel like at this point in time we can predict anything. Nothing makes sense. Nothing really makes sense at all. All the analysis and all the work we did in the preseason, all this stuff is just not coming to fruition just yet. That's all I can really say. Yeah. Oh, a real quick note from the wife of the podcast, Akara Givens. She said, even though I kicked your ass in fantasy this week,
she did. All right, I know who drafted her team. So.
Right. Yes, Akara with the shot.
She did absolutely dismantle me, though. And the real kick in the nuts was, I was like, I think you're beating me in fantasy. She's like, really? Watching like McCaffrey go off, and I go, yeah, you have him. I do.
Receive, don't even know receive, right?
God. Yeah, what am I doing here?
The last time I draft for you.
Yeah.
Hey, he kicks your ass in other ways too, and you enjoy it. So shut up.
Sometimes that's just on Saturday, Cap. Come on. The weekend, brother.
It's the family show, sir. It's a family
Gotta
show.
be relaxed for Sunday.
I actually drafted her team on the show. We have video proof of me doing that.
I waited a good 5 minutes before I even dropped that. So wait a second. I'm good.
I knew once we entered that realm, it was coming eventually. I was prepped.
He's prepared. Okay. All right. As we do at the top of each show, we like to give a quick analysis from a referee's perspective. Any calls, any things that were kind of questionable throughout the week. So we're going to get into our first segment of the day called Ask the Ref. So we got we're going to do a bit of an ad hoc here this week. We're going to go to take any questions in the chat that you might have that might be questionable for Ref. We're going to take those. And does anybody around the room have any questions for him and in regards to what they think that he might can shed some light on? Of course, we had a tie. We had some questionable calls in that game, things of that nature. It's a lot of minor things, not anything major, game changing in my opinion this week. But I'm opening the floor. Start with Ref itself. Give me your overall take of what happened from a refereeing perspective this week in week 4. What did you see? What did you didn't see? Did you think it was a pretty tame week or not? How did you feel about the games in its entirety?
Yeah, thanks again for having me. I felt like for week 4, there was still a lot of questionable calls out there. I think the officials should have tightened things up by now, but it still feels like they're slipping a little bit. Hopefully things will get better. They had a offensive pass interference call against the Jets, and I have no idea what they were looking at with that call.
Mm-hmm.
We can dissect that if you want to, but that was not OPI. And so, there were several calls throughout the week that were, were you just head scratchers, but we're going to have that here and there. But I thought by week 4, that would have been maybe single digits, but I think we're still in a double digit questionable calls. And I think they got to get it. They got to get that under control.
Okay. We got a question right off in the chat. It said the no call in the Jets-Dolphins game, late hit. Did you happen to catch that?
Yeah. What was going on there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's, yeah.
I didn't understand that call. There was one, and I'm not sure I remember that Miami call specifically, but there was a call in the Cincinnati game, Denver game as well. I think against a Denver tight end, maybe. I thought that was a questionable call. It was away from the play. What was the call that the chat was referring to?
It was Jet. I can't remember. I think Jets tight end caught it, got like first down, and then whistle blew. And it's maybe not 5 seconds, but definitely 2 to 3 second window. Guy comes falling in later on top of him, and it's just there's nothing. Dan Orlovsky pointed. The broadcast was like, yeah, I don't know how that's not a personal foul.
For a late hit.
What's going on? Yeah, it was just blatantly missed. The ref's right in front of it.
Yeah, well, again, that's another good point. Is I don't know. Sometimes I don't know what the officials are looking at. It's just really strange. Some of the calls we're getting and some of the no calls. Just wonder what they're looking at. Man.
Yeah, speaking of that, I guess piggybacking on the late hit thing, I kind of want to get your take on what do you deem a late hit on the sideline in particular, because I see some things that are, we're not going to bring up the whole Patrick Mahomes, thing, because he's at the forefront of the, kind of people kind of giving him the mantra of him kind of baiting people to hit him late. But when you see a guy he's clearly out of bounds, and you have a guy come in and hit him after that. Now, mind you, he's moving. He is moving. So, the idea, I always want to give defenders grace and assist because you're moving 100 miles an hour. But when you see things like that, or they seem to be blatant, and he feel like he could have, stopped his tracks, or could have held up, or could have pulled up and not hit the guy, and he hits the guy late. And it's to me, it's like a 50-50 toss up about whether or not they call it as well. How do you officiate that if you were in that position?
Yeah, that's a really good one, because a lot of it depends on whose sideline you're on, right? So let's say you've got Raiders, Chiefs, and Mahomes goes out on the Raiders sideline and there's a hit. There's going to be a flag, because if there's not a flag, you don't know what's going to happen over there. You don't have enough officials to go over there and clean that up. If it's on the Kansas City, if he goes out on the Kansas City side and there's a hit, the officials are going to kind of take a look at what happened as a result. So it's not a call that you necessarily, I mean, the obvious ones are going to be a flag out of your pocket right away. But generally, and this is true with a lot of calls, the officials are going to take a second to go, do I have a foul here? They're going to give them a second or two to process it. And part of the process is how many steps did the, let's say it's offensive player, how many steps did the offensive player take out of bounds? Were they literally trying to get out of bounds in order to stop the clock, and the defender just didn't even respect that? Was there a little gamesmanship going on there where I might step out, I might not step out, so the defender has to make a decision? But just about more specifically, if the player is fully in the white and the defensive player's in the white, that's going to be a flag.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If the defensive player still has 1 foot in the green, and it's kind of what happened after. Did the offensive player go flying into the bench, knock the Gatorade cooler over, and the cheerleaders fell down? Or did he just kind of fall over and win an Emmy? Did the player take an extra step? Did he hit him with the helmet? Did he hit him, with the shoulder pad? So they're going to take a second, kind of process that. But there'll be a lot more intimidation if the player that's in question is on the other team's side of the field. I can assure you that.
Okay. That's some good clarity. That is definitely some good clarity, because I didn't even take that into account, although it makes perfect sense.
Because if it's on the sidelines, your field judge can't get up there fast enough. You don't want a bench clearing incident there. The referee's going to be over there if it's a quarterback. But even that, even in the best case scenario, you've got 3 officials. You've got the referee, the line judge, and maybe the field judge, side judge coming up to try to clear that out. And they're going to be up in there. And if the players are smart, they'll stay out of the way. But you got coaches all in there too. They're going to try to get that player cleared out. The other part of it too is, where are we in the game? We in the last 2 minutes, and a team quarterback that got hit out of bounds on the other team's sideline is ahead. He's trailing. Defense trying to get the ball back. I mean, there's a lot in your head as an official. But you're going to, if it's on the other team's sideline, you're going to be reaching probably for a flag. If it's not, then you're going to take a second or two to ask yourself what you got there.
Gotcha. Okay. Perfect. I got one more question for Rep, but I want to give the room a chance to ask anything they want to do following up, or they have any other questions they want to ask him, because I had another hot button topic that just kind of came across my brain that I want to get his opinion on. Did anybody else have anything for him before I ask?
I just have like a very, very quick general question, not necessarily in a specific game where something happened, but is it ever a case for like referees when I don't want to say they throw a flag and then decide, oh, there's a penalty, but like kind of like how we were talking about, they rely, on scoring plays, they rely on that instant replay to kind of bail them out in certain situations. Is there certain cases where they throw a flag, not necessarily with the intent of, oh, here's this penalty, but kind of sort of like, okay, I know there's something there. I don't know exactly what it is, but I need to get a flag out there so we can go and discuss it.
That's a great question. And it's a 2-part answer. If you do what you just said, throw a flag because you want to sort it all out, you better not be working at that level. Has that happened at all levels? Probably. But at the NFL level, that's your last flag. You better autograph that and hang it in the hall, because you're done. But
Poker.
yeah, and at Division I, it's that better not happen. At lower levels, it's happened. I've been with officials that drew a flag and went up to the official and said, "What do you got?" He goes, "Well, I'm not really sure." I'm like, "What do you mean you're not sure?"
Ooh.
And all of a
sus.
sudden,
You
all of a
got
sudden, you
something.
got 6 out of the 7 officials in the huddle, and everybody's like, "Gee, I wonder what they're talking about." Well, they're talking about up and how they're going to fix it. But so I'm hoping that that's not the case. Because if you've got a flag, you better have something. What makes it look like what you're saying oftentimes, especially on television, is because something else happened. They might have to pick it up, or there might be a scoring play, and the penalty is declined in the background, but we're never told that. They just they just magically pick it up because they'll say, "Oh, there's a scoring play, there's a flag, we got to sort it all out," and then you never hear what happened. That would make you think, "Oh, well, they threw a flag thinking that they want to try to figure something out," but that's not actually what happened. It's probably against the defense, and what offensive team is going to accept a penalty on a scoring play?
Right.
So generally speaking, I would really hope that that's not the case. It's been a long time since I've even thought that I've seen that at the NFL level, but I can't say it's never happened. It's happened at lower levels, and I've observed that personally. But I would say that if we're getting that feeling from anything we're watching, there probably was something else going on that we just weren't told about.
Okay. All right. Anything else around the panel before I ask my final question? I guess you can say.
Yeah, I got. I guess it just kind of depends if you saw the play, ref. I don't know if you watched kind of towards the end of the Packers Cowboys game, but there was. I can't recall. I think it was in the fourth quarter. I don't think it was in overtime, but I think I was talking to coach and said glad they didn't call a PI on it, but it was a throw in the sideline to Wicks, and there was kind of contact on both ends, and it was a no call, but Packers Twitter is raising hell right now that that should have been called, and I think I was even talking to coach, like it seemed like Love was trying to throw into a PI to some degree, and so if you saw it, I guess what's your insight on why it wasn't called, and if not, I guess what are the sort of measuring components of contact on both sides to end up in a no call?
Yeah, that one. I did see a lot of the Packers game. That one doesn't ring a bell, so we'd have to probably rewatch that and break it down. Generally, with regards to receivers, your deep officials, field judge, side judge, and back judge, are going to be primary keys on the receivers. Field judge, side judge, the widest eligible receiver at the snap, which can be a running back actually, but generally it's a receiver. The back judge generally has the tight end. So those are your general keys. With regards to contact, they have to watch the contact within the first 5 yards, right? Because you can have illegal contact within the first 5 yards. And beyond the 5 yards, then you have a decision with regards to contact. Is it holding or pass interference? The difference is what's the status of the ball when you threw your flag, if you threw a flag. Contact for DPI, the bar is lower than for offensive pass interference. For offensive pass interference, you have to have a full extension of the arms with almost a locked elbow. You can get away with quite a bit on the offensive side, especially with one arm. With two arms, you might not have to go fully locked, but if you're pushing off and you got those elbows that almost lock, that's probably going to be a flag. So although the threshold for offensive pass interference is higher, that bar lowers if I've got two arms involved from the offense versus one arm for the offense against the defensive player. For the defensive player, the bar is much, much lower with regards to, do I have a flag? But to answer your question, one of the keys, there are three primary elements to pass interference. There's the arm bar. I'm restricting his movements from an arm. I'm not watching the ball. I'm doing this, right? Trying to wave him off, so to speak, trying to block his vision, if you will.
Face guarding.
Yeah, face guarding essentially, which technically which technically isn't supposed to be a foul. But if you're in contact with that, they're probably gonna call that. The challenge now is that the quarterbacks, like you mentioned before with Jordan Love, although that may not have been specific on this play, the receivers, they're throwing the ball short and receivers trying to come back, and the defensive player doesn't have much choice because he's chasing him. So then he ends up running into the offensive receiver, and then you've got an automatic flag. But it's basically a free flag because maybe the ball wasn't even catchable. They say at the NFL level that whether the ball is catchable or not isn't a factor in whether you have DPI, but it is. They can't deny that it's not. They can say it's not. But unless the ball ends up in row 3, section 312, seat 86, whether the ball is catchable or not is going to be a factor in whether or not they're going to throw a flag. But contact after the 5 yards is something that the official has to watch all the way through the end of the play. And they've got to see quite a bit of contact, but they've got to see some sort of restriction. They've got to see some sort of cutting off the receiver's ability to get to the ball, and not watching the ball is going to get you a flag 9.5 times out of 10.
Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. One quick follow-up question I had in regards to officiating, or how do you deem it to be a penalty or not? Because I'm seeing a lot of issues with defenders not knowing exactly how to officiate mobile quarterbacks. And I feel like there's a lot of hesitation on defenders' part when it comes to quarterbacks running or when they're in the pocket, outside the pocket. And it seemed like in fear of drawing a roughing the passer penalty or a targeting penalty, something of that nature. Because I feel like the quarterback has an extra layer of the roughing the passer aspect of it, as well as targeting and helmet to helmet contact, things of that nature. So I feel like they have a extra added element, and we have seen probably this might be the height of mobile quarterback play in this entire league, from my perspective. So, how do you officiate the idea of the, when the quarterback's out of the pocket, when he's not out of the pocket, when he's, because I know he's protected by the roughing inside the pocket, but technically he's not supposed to be protected outside of the pocket, but it still seems like defenders are hesitant. So how would you officiate that from your perspective? And what should, I guess you could say, the average fan look for in what they call on the field and what they don't?
The answer is beats the hell out of me. I don't know how you officiate that. Part of the answer is the referee who has primary responsible for the quarterback and probably has that call until the quarterback crosses the line of scrimmage, right? And technically becomes a runner, and technically by rule loses his protections once he becomes a runner. The question is, when does he really become a runner? Well, you've got 17 referees, and you probably have 18 different definitions of what that is, which makes it very difficult to officiate whether you have roughing the passer or you don't. But you asked with regards to keys for the fans to look out for. Where, in terms of location on the field, was the quarterback hit? In the pocket, outside the pocket, behind the line of scrimmage, or beyond the line of scrimmage? Who hit him and where, and how many players hit him? So, for example, you've seen the quarterback slide, player tries to stop, still hits the quarterback, no flag. You have the same scenario, quarterback slides, defensive player tries to stop, hits the quarterback, and there's a flag. Well, there's no consistency there because the officials are in one of these moments where I have to err on the side of safety. So what they're looking for generally is the helmet-to-helmet contact. That helmet-to-helmet contact can be just your face mask hitting the quarterback somewhere above the neck. It could be your arm. It could be your left toe. It could be your salute to service towel. Whatever hit him in the head, that's going to be a judgment call. So inside the pocket, it's much more difficult to really officiate the rough and the passer, because generally all you're really going to be able to see is either hits to the head or late hits. Late hits being after he's thrown the ball. Now it's in basketball it used to be you could take 1.5 steps and that wasn't traveling. Now you can pretty much just run down the court with the ball and nobody ever calls traveling.
That's
It
a
used
fact.
to be you could take a half a step and hit the quarterback after he's thrown the ball. That wasn't a flag.
Right.
Now we don't know how many steps, half steps, no steps that you can do. It's very difficult to get consistency on that because we really don't know what the answer to roughing the passer is. But if he's in the pocket, couple things. Did they hit him low? Did they hit him late? Did they hit him in the head? Any one of those three likely could draw a foul. It depends on whether you're Justin Fields or you're Mahomes. Okay. If he's outside the pocket, then for a right-handed quarterback, the threshold for roughing the passer is a little bit higher because he's going to have his back to basically the rushing defense, but he's got the ability to stop, set, and throw. If he's a right-handed quarterback running to his left, how many quarterbacks that are right-handed running to their left actually stop, set, and throw? They generally jump up and throw, or they throw on the run. They generally don't have a chance to run all the way out there, set, and throw. So roughing the passer increases quite a bit when you have a right-handed quarterback running to his left because he's not defenseless, but he's more defenseless running to his left than he's running to his right. The opposite would be true for a left-handed quarterback. The other aspect of it is which side of the field. Is the quarterback rolling out to the wide side of the field or the short side of the field? And whose side of the field is he running to? So you got Pat Mahomes against the Raiders. We're watching the television and the ball's on our side, our hash, okay, the television side hash, okay. So Mahomes is right-handed. He rolls to his left, which is the short side of the field towards the Raiders bench, and he gets hit. Do I have a flag? Why? For all the reasons we just said before, you got a quarterback in enemy territory who got hit. So you're going to have your referee, probably depending on who it is, might get the jitters. If he's rolling to the wide side of the field towards his own bench, do I have a flag? Depends on where he got hit. Was it low? Was it high? Was it in the head? Did they push him out of bounds? What happened? Maybe I got a flag. Maybe I don't. So again, it's same as kind of the call or the question you had about what out of bounds. There's a lot of subjectivity to these calls, but there's a lot of processing the officials have to go through. Location on the field, where he got hit on the field, who was it, and by who and how many is going to play all a factor in whether or not I have a flag. Some of them are going to be obvious. Others won't be. So on the others that you think should have been and aren't, we'd have to probably break it down. But if you had a right-handed quarterback rolling to his bench on the wide side of the field and he got hit, not a flag, okay. You have something to look for now. Well, if they cut him off at the knees, maybe. If they hit him in the head, maybe still. But if he rolled to the other side or he tries to make a play upfield, maybe I got a flag. Then as soon as he crosses the line of scrimmage, everything changes because he's technically now a runner, is not afforded all the protections that he would have had as a quarterback. The problem we get into now is that they let him slide. And the defense doesn't really know how to.
Last second.
They don't know how to defend that. They've got to figure out that if they're going to let the quarterback slide or essentially give himself up, maybe there's another way to give himself up. Maybe he, instead of sliding, maybe he just stops, stands up, and
Puts
says,
his hands up.
waves a white flag or holds the ball up or something. I don't know.
Right.
I think the sliding thing is problematic. If they should find a way for the quarterback to say, I give up without him sliding. But they're trying to coach this. And it's difficult to do. And so the league has decided that some of this stuff is okay. Now you end up with late hits and some people cry foul and some people don't. Very difficult for the line judges to gauge that because that's not really their key. But they may have to come off of their key when the quarterback crosses the line of scrimmage because the referee may not have a clear view of what happened. So the referee may go over and go, do we have a foul? You may get a late flag. So there's a lot of communication that has to go on there. And when the referee has primary responsibility for the quarterback and can't move appropriately to guard or cover the quarterback in all these other instances, there can be a lot of confusion about what we have and what we don't have.
Roger that. And Ed, to your question, yeah, that's in the works. We're in the works on that in the back stages of the network. So yeah, we look forward to that. We'll let you know when that drops. So, but that's definitely in the works.
That's a good one. Yeah, we can go over positions, primary responsibilities, and pick out some plays and just do some generic stuff. It'd be probably really good for everybody to see that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to point out.
Jack, you got to go to my OnlyFans. That's all I'm saying.
Wow.
Ooh, shameless plug there, huh?
Yeah, I mean, there's a good comment right there. It's impossible for a defender to pull up at the last second slide.
Like Tua did.
I agree. You know,
that
so
one last night was egregious from Tua. Like last second. Like
and with a guy with concussion history, he should know better.
Yeah.
Yeah, he shouldn't even be taken off to run with his concussion history.
Well, I agree with you on that front.
Well,
and
maybe because of the concussion, he slid so late. He's like, "Oh, I got to go down."
Yeah, and I think, to not belabor the point, because I know you got a show to do, but I really think that they really should try to come up with a way for the quarterback to, quote, give themselves up. And I think we could probably eliminate some of that because they're obviously trying to take that out of the game, right?
Yeah.
It's not 1977 anymore. You can't just plaster people. But then if they're going to say the quarterback slides, well, how do you defend that? The other option is if he slides, how do you know when he's going to slide? So you have to defend him at some point. So if it's not flag football, it's really tough to try to determine. But I think the defenders could do a lot by just not getting a helmet in there. Oftentimes, you see the player trying to pull up and you give them credit for that, but for some reason there's still the helmet contact.
Right.
Hard not to throw a flag when there's helmet contact. So put your head to the side, put your head up, dive over him. There's just a lot going on there. And at NFL speeds, I'm not surprised that we have some controversy there.
Yeah, and then not only they officiated from a helmet to helmet perspective, but they officiated from an arm to helmet, shoulder pad to helmet, anything that hits the helmet, any body part, and you're sliding into me, and your helmet is the last thing. It's kind of hard not to hit it from a defender perspective.
And you're going down, like you're naturally gonna brace it.
Yeah,
you almost need to put some of it on the QBs, like put 1-2 yard. Like if you're within a yard of a player, you can't slide. I mean, you just I get the safety component, but there's some assumption of risk to it. Like if you want to slide, go down earlier. If not, well, you're
be prepared.
Well, if you're trying to get a first down, and now remember, they're going to spot the ball not where he ends up, but right when he starts to slide.
Right where
so
the ball is.
His legs and knees come out, and his arm is back. But that's where the ball is going to get spotted. It's not anywhere else in there. So that was the caveat for the defense. It's like, well, if the quarterback slides, he's not going to get credit, for a 6-foot slide. He's going to get credit for as soon as he, got a hip down. That's where we're going to spot the ball. So that part's okay.
Yeah.
But I still think they have to figure out some way for the quarterback to still be designated as a runner, especially after he crosses the line of scrimmage, but still be able to give himself up if he wants to. That wouldn't go. Whatever they decide isn't going to sit well with the likes of a Lamar Jackson or a Josh Allen or somebody like that. For other quarterbacks, they like Aaron Rodgers, they might be glad for that. But it's a contact sport. It's football, and you can't merge a non-contact aspect into a contact sport or make it half flag and half not football.
I was just going to say merging flag with contact football, and that's
this is what we get into when you have that is all this nonsense in the middle. So if it's not defined, then it's subjective. If it's subjective, it's not consistent.
There you go.
That's pretty much how it works.
I like it. Okay. All right. Any follow-up question we have a ref before we move on? All right. Okay.
Gold as always.
Hey, listen, these segments are absolutely gold. I definitely appreciate them in its entirety. So, good sir, we appreciate you having you as always.
Appreciate being here. Thank you.
Yes,
hopefully it's helpful.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, 100%, man.
If nothing else, from a selfish plug, I'm pleased. I always get a nugget or three from your perspective, educate me on what's going on the field.
Well, what's hard is even in talking with you all, we'd like more clarity. Unfortunately, with the way that it is, sometimes it just isn't. Yeah. So the conversations that we're having about subjectivity and how you do this and how you do this, that's the same conversations that are going on in their training sessions. How do we deal with this? And pretty much it comes down to a situational thing. You try to get your crew all dialed in on what you have and what you don't have. And again, like I said, if it's not defined, it's subjective. It's subjective, then it's not consistent, and that's just how we are.
I love it. I love it. That is a line within itself.
Put
That
that
is
on the
Yeah.
shirt.
that is a line within itself. I like it. Okay. Well, good sir. I appreciate your insight, and we'll check up again with you next week as we do our
Awesome.
segment Ask the Ref. And ladies and gentlemen, as always,
Yeah, thank you.
Ref Guru.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to watching this game this week for what it's worth. I won't be here for the rest of the show, but the Commanders and Seahawks, man, they're just kind of lurking. People better start paying attention to what's going on with those two. Actually,
Look
You
at
heard
Coach cheesing up there. Look at that cheese
Yeah.
smile when you heard that.
Who, me?
Indeed. But ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate Ref Guru. We'll catch him next week.
Yep,
Let's
take
get
care.
into some headlines. Let's do it.
Hit Squad headlines.
All right, so let's talk Hit Squad headlines, and there's a lot to talk about from the NFL perspective. So we'll get into some NFL news, and then listen, we could probably end the show right now with a ref segment. 'Cause that's just gold in itself.
Yeah.
But we're gonna try to deliver from a podcast perspective from here on out. I appreciate everybody that's been coming through each and every week. Hit that subscribe button on the channel for the Lockdown David Sports Network if you have not done so. And so, gentlemen, let's talk football here, and let's talk about the week 4 in its entirety. Of course, the biggest headline and the most glaring headline is, the Dallas Packers and Cowboy matchup in Dallas this past week. And very entertaining game. I think that we all discussed, privately, that we said that we didn't think the game was going to go in that manner. We thought it was going to be a walkover or a run over from the Packers' perspective. And Dallas came to play. Dallas came to play. They were highly motivated. I got to give Brian Schottenheimer a lot of credit. I didn't have him anywhere near, in the annals of, coaching this team well in this stretch. But he's not only calling good plays, but he's coaching, he's managing them, he's motivating these guys. They're playing hard. Excuse me. And they're doing things that I didn't anticipate them doing. And they're a sneaky team at this point, especially taking the Raiders to the brink. Of course, the game ended in a tie, but let's go around the room and let's talk about the game. Give your perspective on it and tell me exactly how you felt about it. And of course, we'll follow that up with talking about the result. But let's talk about Micah Parsons going back to Dallas. Start with young RG. How did you feel about the game? It was definitely a highly anticipated matchup when Micah got traded to Green Bay. So how did you feel about the matchup in itself, and what did you think about the game in its entirety?
Yeah, I thought the game, obviously ending it in 40-40, nobody expected that. We brushed on that a little bit. We fully expected Green Bay to just come in here and kind of dominate. It was a home game for the Cowboys, but I think we were all kind of on the same page of the Packers are just kind of on a different level this year. Add Micah into that mix with a defense that was already, top 10 last year, and they're going to be really scary. And I think this game really, although it ended in a tie, it really did seem like a loss for Packers fans and for Green Bay in total.
Mhm.
I think Dallas, again, I know there are no moral victories in the NFL, but this is about as close to a moral victory as you can get because you didn't lose, but you didn't win. So, I think Dallas, like you mentioned already, Schottenheimer, got to get a ton of credit. The boy, Marty's boy, he's all grown up now, and
Right.
man, it's my boy, Blue. But yeah, I thought the Cowboys were extremely impressive, and I'm gonna keep saying it as long as that offense keeps performing. Man, if only that defense had somebody like a Micah Parsons, that team could really compete this year.
That part.
But yeah, great game all around, and we'll talk about the ties a little bit later on in the show.
Okay. Real AG Alice Givens, how did you feel about this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, like we said, it I think was as expected, at least from the Packers component of lighting up the scoreboard. Got to give the Cowboys credit. I guess got to give Jerry Jones a little bit of credit because I did not envision them putting up 40 points without CeeDee Lamb in their lineup, and that's why you go get a George Pickens so his crazy ass can do stuff like he did, Sunday night. And, I didn't think they'd have a good running game, not getting Derrick Henry or addressing it with someone better than Javonte Williams. And they have a pretty stellar running game, and they clearly knew what played into Micah's weaknesses and, took advantage of that and got the ball out quick. I mean, Dak was 31 for 40. That's just ridiculous. Like he was slinging, dude. He got sacked once, which was Micah, but I mean, that was later in the game. I just thought they had a great game plan for him, and he didn't really, leave his fingerprints on the game all that much or make that big of an impact. And honestly was off the field quite a bit more than I thought he would be for this homecoming that it was. But I mean, overall great entertaining game. Like that's what the NFL wants, like high scoring games. Certainly probably not the outcome that we got to, but yeah, you got to get kind of hats off to everyone in that regard.
Yeah, they put on the show. That's for sure. They definitely put on the show. I definitely consider it. And I'm gonna shoot Michael some bell. They did double him practically every play in that game. You chip him with a running back or tight end, or they flat out double him in practically every snap. Outside of that one, we got free on the right side and got a sack. But yeah, they definitely had a game plan to keep two bodies on him at all costs. So that definitely lent to the idea of him being largely ineffective for sure. All right, Captain Jack. What we got on the Micah Parsons' return to Dallas from your perspective?
Jack Kenna, thank you. I really do talk on this show. They try to keep me in check, though. So that's why I seem to be more well-behaved here. I honestly can say I was doing my after-game show for the majority of this game.
Okay.
And then my audience said, hey, you might want to check out the Dallas game. And honestly, I'm sorry, I didn't turn my TV on in my room fast enough when I had my show on. And I did turn it on just in time to watch basically the tie at the end and the overtime. So I got to the best part of the game and didn't have to waste the other 2 hours or so of watching whatever the hell transpired. I did see the sack that Micah Parsons did on Dak Prescott, and Prescott after the game was like, well, that wasn't a sack. Well, yeah, it was, because he caught you at the line of scrimmage. It was a sack by the NFL book. So I caught all the important stuff. It was a tie. It was very well played from what I saw. And the fact, and I agree with that dude over there. What's his name? The Robert. What's his name? Yeah, there you go. The dude who just saluted. Okay, I'm playing. But I agree. It's like for Packers to go in there and basically outplay the Cowboys, because you could feel by the feel of the game that they won that game, but they didn't get a W in the column. Okay, so that is almost like going in there and getting an L, because the Packers have the Cowboys number. They have had it for several years, and it's actually a very decisive victory without a W for the Dallas Cowboys to have on a Sunday night game when Micah comes in there and it has all the flash bam, Hollywood bullshit going on. For them to get a tie is a win for the Dallas Cowboys.
I like it. Okay. All right, the man is the closest to this particular matchup because he is a Commanders fan, and he was, preying on the Cowboys' downfall. Coach Mike Dub, how do you feel about this matchup, and what did you take from it, from especially from a coaching perspective? What did you take from this game?
Yeah, definitely got to give credit to both sides, but especially the Cowboys for their game plan and how they neutralized all the Packers' weapons. Not only double teaming Micah, but also getting rid of the ball quick so that guys like Rashawn Gary can't really get going, and they did a good job of keeping Dak in a rhythm and staying on schedule. I think that's the biggest thing. He never got caught in a second and long or third and long situations. They stayed on schedule, which is of course key anytime you're going against a good defense in a spectacular pass rush. And of course you got to give them credit for the next guy stepping up. They did this without CeeDee Lamb, their number one guy. Some would argue that kind of opened up the offense a little bit more because they weren't so dependent upon him, so they were able to get Pickens going a little bit, get their run game going a little bit, Ferguson. So definitely got to give credit to the Cowboys for their game plan and how they stuck with it, and kind of did what they wanted to do. Of course.
What happened? Did we lose Dub?
Uh-oh.
He's frozen.
I thought that was me, man.
Yeah, I thought that was me too.
I already clicked, and then he just froze.
That was a scary sound.
It
Yeah,
was.
that-
television.
blasted.
That smile that he had earlier. Oh, there he is. He's live.
There he's back.
There it is. There it is. I see the smile now. The smile knocked it out. It was like an hour after the smile or whatever. You know, it was a percussion just coming off.
You missed the very last part of your statement, though. If you want to reiterate it real quick before we move on.
No, I mean, I was just saying, if I'm the Packers, I'm a little disappointed that you couldn't capitalize. It's hard to win games in this league, and that's a win that you're going to want to capitalize off of. Possibly if we get down into, the end of the season and we start talking about home field advantage and things like that.
Yeah.
Then it could come back to haunt them. So definitely I hate moral victories and I hate ties, but we'll get into that later. But if anything, it will be a moral victory for the Cowboys. Packers got to be a little disappointed that they couldn't come out with a W.
Yeah. In a famous rap lyric, they say moral victories are for minor league coaches. So I get how we feel about moral victories. So yeah, that's what you have in a certain aspect of it. So I get why the tie is definitely something we don't want to see. And I'm glad we brought that up and everybody kind of, hinted on to focus on that particular aspect of it, because our next headline would be the ties in the NFL. Now, I would argue that, we can talk about, the rules and how they changed them, they tweaked them to kind of get a better result, right? But we still have this problem here in such a high stakes league, where wins matter. To Doug's point, it could, come back and bite you in the standings or not. Sometimes that non-loss in your column could play into the idea of which seed you get, could maybe work out for you in the better aspect of it, not negative, but we don't know. But for my money, for college to have this completely utterly figured out, and we saw it in the Oregon Penn State game over the weekend, the day before, but them to have it completely figured out, and it doesn't take up, an enormous amount of time to get it resolved, at any point if they had ties in the regulation. What should the NFL do? Should the NFL eliminate the idea of ties, and should we have a guaranteed result? Captain Jack is chomping at the bit. Please go first. Please tell me how you feel about it, and what is your take on this particular aspect of it in NFL?
Man, Coach, I know I got with all you youngins out there, okay, and Coach, you're not quite as old as me, but you're still a youngin in my heart. Okay, here's the thing: in the old NFL, back in days of yore, there were ties. There were ties, and then they expanded the games. It went from 14 to 16 to 17, and they expanded the rules. And even when they did the overtime, it's like, oh, now you have to have both teams get the ball. I get it. It's because of the mind of the American public, like these people were saying there, people don't pay for ties. No, it was the NFL trying to kowtow to the big bucks of the audience and the sponsors and all the people that are throwing money at them. And so they have to have something. And it's not just the NFL. Like you said, they have ties in soccer. No, they don't. They have that bull crap. I call myself this time. They have the bull crap of like the extra shooters and kickers and all the other stuff, just like they have in hockey, where they have the overtime period. Then they have a shootout. It's okay. It's okay to have a tie. They have draws in boxing, and it's well worth it. I saw a draw when I saw the Canelo undercard, and the guys beat the living crap out of each other, and it was a great fight, and it was a draw because it was what it was. There can be ties. Can it hurt you in the standings? Yes, because you didn't win, but let it all play out. There's no need to have a BS for the sponsors and the money and the Budweisers and the crap going on to have a winner. I know that is like detrimental for what y'all want to say, but it's okay. It is okay.
Well, I shut a sim in the boxing because it tells me if I have a really good fight, that means I'm guaranteed to get another one. But you're not guaranteed to get another, shot at the people you tie with in the NFL. It's just not how it works.
Such is life. Such is life. Yeah, I'm good with it.
Went to a tie. They will fight again, and we get another good, multi-million-dollar fight. But the Packers and Dallas may not see each other at all ever in the season. So it may not work out that way.
If it's a tie and it hurts you in the standings, so be it. Okay, you didn't get a win, you didn't get a loss, but it's better than losing. It's not as good as winning. It's just what it is.
I that sounds like the participation trophy argument to me. But we can agree to disagree personally. But let's get Coach Mike Duff's perspective on the ties. Do you think that the NFL should adopt the college rules, eliminate ties? Should you fight to the death? First blood wins. What do you take on what the NFL should do about ties?
100%. I think college has it figured out. College, this is the thing, I was against when they put in the rule where both teams had to get the ball because I said football is, all phases of the game. You want to win, you got a chance to play defense, you got a chance to play special teams, win on defense and special teams. Anything. Just I don't like ties. And I don't like ties because you play to win the game. And as a coach, it frustrates the crap out of me to, have guys, and I understand, it's not necessary. And this is from a selfish point of view, my competitive side. You either win or you lose. You know what I mean? Like there's no in between. And when you start talking about records and you start talking about, incentives and contracts and, who's over 500 O's of all this stuff, I don't know. It's just, there's not much more. It doesn't get much more black and white than wins and losses. Like that's just it. That's just, you cannot play good. You can, all this other stuff. And in life, I get it. I get it, Cap. Life goes that way sometimes, but this isn't life. This is football. You win or you lose. Please give them a definitive answer, especially in the professional ranks. College has it figured out. Go with the college.
Please, one alibi on that.
We're listening.
Yeah.
It's when you talk about college, it's arbitrary makeup. Okay. You're going to start from here and you're going to have this, and it's bull crap. At least in overtime in the pros, they do it the correct way.
Well,
wait a effing second. Don't piss me off. Okay. Okay. It's arbitrary. I caught myself. Don't get my blood boiling. Okay. But it's arbitrary in college where they start at whatever they start at, and you're going towards the thing, and then you get the other guy, and it's all arbitrary. Even in baseball, with the BS of having a runner on second base now, just to try to get a win. Okay, because baseball, they didn't like to see all of these extra innings where they couldn't get a run across, so they made arbitrary rules in college football just to get a win. Arbitrary rules in professional baseball just because they're kowtowing to the sponsors and the people that are blowing money in it. I know people want to see a winner. I get it. I want to see a winner too, but I don't like arbitrary BS rules that they throw in there just to have a result. That's what I'm saying. And I apologize when you were talking about that. College has it figured out. No, they don't. They're just kowtowing to the sponsors as well.
May I go?
Go ahead.
All right. Let me respond to this. It's not in the sense of they're just trying to get a winner quick. It's the sense that they're trying to end the game quicker. That's what they do with all of these sports. It's why they added the extra runner, and extra innings rule for baseball. They don't want these games going 18, 19 innings. They want them to end in, 12, 13. These guys play 162 game seasons. They don't want them to have to play 2 games in one, essentially. Same thing with hockey. Hockey playoffs, it's overtime, and you just go until somebody scores. It's normal.
I like that.
But that's in the playoffs, right? In the regular season, it's the shootout, and that's about as arbitrary as it can get. You start at center ice, you have the puck, it's you and the goalie. You take one shot, you win, cool. If not, that's it. That's about as arbitrary as it gets. At least with college, it's an actual drive, and it's like, yeah, you're starting them on, this part of the field, and they have to go down and score, but that's actually them playing the game. That hockey overtime, that's not hockey. The extra innings rule in baseball, that's not baseball. Like, it's very similar.
You're proving my point for me. You're proving my point for me about the arbitrary BS in hockey. If you're going to have overtime, let them play and play and play and play. And you don't have that crappy shootout. In football, in college, you started, I can't remember, was it the 30-yard line and you move in?
25.
Whatever. But it's arbitrary BS. That's what I'm saying.
But during the regular season,
I get it. But if you're going to have a winner, do it the right way. If you're going to have overtime, like you said, college does it right. I disagree. College does not do it right.
So
they are talent.
Would you be open to an idea then, if we're going to make it arbitrary, that we just all right, field goal kick at the end of the games for football during the regular season?
That's bull crap too.
But that's
Come
my
on.
point. That's what all these leagues are doing in overtime during the regular season. They are trying to end these games as quickly as possible, not have them go any more than they have to. Football, out of those 4 sports that we mentioned, is the most physically taxing sport. So the
Agreed.
less time they can play, the better. That's why there is ties in football. It's because they're like, we cannot let these guys go until somebody wins, because
And
they're just
that's
going to
why
destroy
it's
each other.
okay to have a tie in football, because you don't want to go beyond. You want a result. The result is an effing tie. And by the way, if you're going to say physically taxing, remember, Robert, you and me are both hockey fans. I would say that taxing, you're saying that football is more taxing than hockey. I might call you on that one.
That'll be a discussion for another time.
We're not going to debate that, but they both physically taxing. But I would lean towards football, especially since I played the game at a high level. I think it's a little more taxing than skating on ice for 60 minutes, but whatever. We got to digress from that. But
I'll try not to say anything else.
I think that the league is a results-based league, in my opinion, and I think that the result is wins and losses. Ties adds arbitrariness to the standings, to me, in my opinion. Because I think that if you have several teams with ties, that messes with the standings and the idea of who gets what from a seeding perspective. So that's another thing too. If everybody's clear cut, wins and losses, no ties in the third column, I think that makes for a more concise idea of who deserves to be the 1 seed, the 7 seed, whatever the case may be when it comes out of the playoffs. But I'm not going to belabor the point too much. I want to get everybody else's opinion on it. But
put up Ardell's comment there, Coach, about that physically taxing stuff. Okay.
I missed it. It might get see it.
This one?
Yeah.
Hockey is the most taxing sport on earth.
Fair. I mean, again, we can agree to disagree.
I agree with this, though.
Yeah. That part, yeah, true that. Okay. Real AGL is given. So how do you feel about this particular aspect of it? Where do you stand on this aisle?
Yeah. Well, let me just temper the room a little bit and say hello, Kenna. Good to see you. Good to see you, brother.
Already.
We did, but hey, he was asking. I'll give him a hello because it's good to hear from Kenna. But
okay.
I don't want to trigger Cap or send him skyrocketing, but I do feel that college has over time figured out, at least from the aspect of getting a result that is not a tie or an extra number in the win-loss column. Because, like I said, when we talked about this after the game, I'm like, there's only 17 of these things. Like, why are you making it a possibility that one of them can end in neither a win or a loss? So they need to change something so it drives to that point, whether that's reverting back to the old rule. If you drive down the field and kick a field goal, you won, because at least then you're saying, well, hey, you had a chance to stop them, should have done it. Or go to more of the college aspect, not saying just copy the model, top to bottom, but get to some point where you're driving scoring and then changing it from, hey, you're not just going to get this free extra point at the end. You got to start hitting 2-point conversions so that we're not here all night with you guys scoring from 25 in, kicking field goals. So I just think whatever they decide to do, they need to do something so that the regular season in one of the 17 games doesn't end in a tie. And I understand that it brings different implications than a loss, but it's also not a win. So why not have the game just, it's black or white, ends in a win or a loss, and don't leave it up to that possibility.
I wholeheartedly agree. And then start from the 50. We don't got to do the 25 like college does. Start from the 50. These kickers kicking, 50, 60, 70-yard kicks in certain cases. Start from the 50, give them one drive from the 50, and the other team will drive from the 50 and see what happens. If you kick a field goal, no field goals?
No field goals. Nope. Just go drive straight down, and then you just keep going back and forth with it. Because the thing is, we're already, most teams are almost already starting at the 50 with these new kickoff rules. Touchbacks are 35.
Yeah, that's why I say start from the 50, because you're damn near doing that anyway with the kickoff rules. So start from the 50. If you can't score from that aspect of it, it's tough on you. But I think that they should definitely do something to have a more definitive winner. Because like Alex said, you only have 17 of these things. You don't have 162. You don't have how many games in soccer or hockey, whatever case may be. You don't play for 8, 9, 10 months. You play for 3 months, and it's a lot of stakes involved. So I think they should clean it up, in my opinion. But we'll see what they do in regards to that. But I think there's a lot of buzz around the idea that this tie business is not what's good for the fan base, for sure. Because I'm sure that we all can have one opinion on it, but let that tie affect your team get in the playoffs or not, or then we got a whole different opinion. Then we got a whole different opinion in that respect as well. So if
all we need is the Bills to tie and not make the playoffs somehow. Then they'll
change the rule.
Yeah, that part. Yeah.
If you tie, you tie. If it affects your outcome, sucks being your team. But you play to win the game unless you tie.
Okay, Herb Hedwig would not agree with that, but okay, we'll do it. Okay, all right, but yeah, we'll see how things go with the tie business. But I think we all, outside of Cap, we agree that something needs to be done to make sure we have wins or losses versus ties. Ties not good for anybody.
Besides, I like to be difficult because I knew all the rest of you bastards were going to say what you said. That's why I said what I said.
Someone's got to play devil's advocate.
It's not a secret. Yeah. We know. Okay. All right, so let's move on down the line. Let's talk about a different topic in regards to the NFL. So let's talk about some quarterbacks. So we saw the benching for Jackson Dart of Russell Wilson this past week, and we saw Kyler Murray, quite honestly, not look great, on Thursday night against the Seahawks and for most of that game. So, there's talks and there's buzz about Russell Wilson's future, and there's also talks and buzz about what Kyler Murray's future is going to look like. Are we going to see Russell Wilson at all in starting ever again in the NFL? Are we going to see Kyler Murray on a different team in 2026? We don't know. But either way, these guys seem to be wearing out their welcome where they're staying in that aspect of it. So let's go around the room and get people's takes on. We'll start with Russell Wilson. And then we'll get to Kyler Murray. But I'm going to start with the Alex Gillens first. We talk about Russell Wilson. How do you feel about his status in the NFL? And what do you think he does after his tour in New York? If he stays that long, he could get traded. We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really strike me as the kind of guy to read the room and retire, when the time's right. So I imagine he sticks around unless his ego is too big to be a veteran backup somewhere. But I think the days of Russell Wilson or a team giving him the keys to the offense and saying he's our guy are done, because he was good in Seattle for a decent stretch of time, but everywhere else he's gone since then has just completely gone off the rails. And I mean, the last two teams he was with, he didn't even make it. I don't know when the Steelers moved off of him completely, but I feel like it was about the same time this year. So, last year. So he didn't even make it into a quarter of the season with the last two teams he's been with.
It's actually backwards, because Justin Fields started the season because he was quote unquote hurt. And then after 4 or 5 games, they benched him. Justin Fields.
Oh, yeah.
And Russell finished out the season. So he finished the season out.
Did they make the playoffs? No,
they did.
No. They did.
Yeah.
They did.
But yeah, I
just done like they were normal, MO.
Yeah, I think they were a wild card.
They were.
But yeah, I do not envision another team talking themselves into or believing Russell Wilson's the missing piece that we need to have our offense be better, or I just don't really see a team giving him a chance. So I think he is absolutely done as a starter in the NFL, and we'll see if he sticks around to be that, like I said, veteran presence for a younger guy. But from what I've seen too, he's not that type of guy that you would even want in your locker room for that role. So I don't know what happens.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's some weird things going on with that dynamic, and people have clearly left the right opinions on what Russell Wilson is and who type of teammate he is. Because I got into a Twitter war about his character after he got benched, and the people that cape for Russell Wilson tell me I'm crazy, and the people that think that they side with Richard Sherman and Marshawn Lynch and those guys think that there's something there. You could be. That's the thing about it from my perspective. And I'll say this, and I'll go to Coach Mike Dub next. But my thing is this: you could be a really good person generally, on the surface, but to be a good football teammate, that's a whole different aspect of the whole idea. Mm-hmm. Like to be a good football teammate, to be a good leader in the locker room, and be a guy that people can rally behind and really want to go to war with. That's the whole completely it's totally different. I'll tell you one thing: a politician can't walk into an NFL locker room and galvanize the room. You're not gonna get me to play football. But Tom Brady can walk in the locker room right now and put the pads on it, and you're gonna want to run through a wall for Tom Brady. It's two different scores of people, two different characters. So I think that, although Russell Wilson might be the guy to shake hands and kiss babies, he might run for Senate one day, but he just might not be a good guy that you want to get behind in regards to he can lead you to the promised land. Maybe that's just what it is.
It's all public image.
And all that, all that corny stuff is cool and welcoming when things are going good, but then
Right.
it's like it's Parkman doing his shimmy,
Yeah, right.
Women in Cleveland puke.
Right.
Broncos country. Let's ride.
Right. So yeah, it gets tiresome real quick if you're not winning. So I definitely agree there. There you go.
There's Parkman doing a shimmy.
Doing his shimmy.
Drives the women in Cleveland crazy.
Drive the women in Vegas crazy.
Yeah.
Don't make me turn around.
No, please don't. No, please don't. No, please don't. It's a family show.
I did a front shimmy. That's why.
Back shimmy is for your OnlyFans.
Did an upper front shimmy. That's all we needed.
Any other part of your body, save for your OnlyFans. Save for your OnlyFans. Coach Mike Dell, what do you feel about Russell Wilson's future?
Yeah, I think. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this shimmy out my head. But,
Can't unsee it. Can't unsee it.
Yeah,
It lingers, man.
really-
It lingers.
It's terrible. I'm gonna have nightmares. But
Come on, man.
I think AG said it all. His time is out, most definitely as a starter. It's hard for me to say that his time is done in the NFL when you have the Saints situation happening. He could clearly play for the Saints. He could clearly play for the Bengals. He could clearly play for a lot of different teams in the NFL and be a better option for them physically. But the same thing. Is it really worth bringing? He's corny. Let's just call it how it is. He's corny.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to deal with his corny jokes on the sidelines and all that stuff like that. They'd rather just lose and draft a new quarterback. So I think this is probably his last year, maybe one more. Definitely as a starter. I think it's time for him to start transitioning into his next career. I don't know if that's media. I don't know what it is, but he's just, I don't know. And it's bad to say it because he does seem like a really nice guy.
Right.
He just doesn't seem like a likable guy.
Yeah.
And I can't even say that he would go on to do media. Like Jameis Winston's going to have an amazing media career.
Listen.
He might be the next lead course or whatever you want to call it, the next big thing media wise. Russell Wilson, he's not likable, so he will be the next RG3. I don't know, but either way, his time playing, I think, is
that's a good one.
His time playing is
shout out to Rob Parker. Shout out to Rob Parker.
Oh man, yeah.
I mean, anytime you see a guy coming off an injury run a fake huddle in an empty stadium, that's all I needed to see, man. Calling fake plays,
Yeah.
Come on.
Right.
So yeah, his time is out.
Okay.
It was a good run though. It was a good run.
It was. And I'm not going to. It's a whole different debate talking about what Ardell's talking about him being a Hall of Famer. I'm not getting to that today. That's gonna be a whole different conversation.
Turn out the lights. The party's over.
I love it. Well, Gab Jack, you're up. What do you feel about Russell Wilson? Do you share the sentiment of the cast, or you be contrarian?
No, man. Like I said, the song says it all. I mean, people would rather trade for his wife at this point.
Wow.
Damn.
I can't argue that either. It's sad.
No, because wait a second. See, you automatically went X-rated on that. I'm talking about she's more of an entertainer and a crowd pleaser than he is.
I agree.
I'll give you that 100%.
Yeah, I agree. I would go see her in concert before I go watch Russell play.
Damn right. Okay, so and she brings more to the game. She's definitely more than that twig that Kelsey goes out with. I mean, she's she can sing and is entertaining. I'd take a Sierra concert in a minute. That is the correct lady, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely right.
I'm not as old as people think you are. Okay, there you go.
There you go.
But no, he's out. He's cooked. I mean, Cosell would say, "You through, you finished, you washed up." Okay, there you go. Just go home. Don't go away mad. Just go away. That's all
take your millions, because you made a good pretty penny in this league. I think we're looking at about $200+ million.
Let's see.
300 maybe. So
Oh, he's got to be 300 plus easily after those contracts.
But Hall of Fame? No.
No. Hell no.
Listen, if he gets it before Eli Manning or Phillip Rivers, then we got to talk.
He's earned an estimated $312 million.
There you go. You're good. You're good money. You're good
What,
money.
a third round pick? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Feeling
He's
all right.
Kirk Cousins with a Super Bowl win.
Talk about it. Talk about it. Okay. RG, what you got, man? You know, I'm gonna let you lead this one and then follow up with Kyler Murray. So give me your Russell Wilson and give me your Kyler Murray.
Oh, giving you the 2 for special here. Yeah, for Russ, the only chance he is going to have to ever start another game this season is if the Bengals call up the Giants and they're like, hey, we maybe think we can potentially stick around long enough for Burrow to get back, and maybe we can, run up something at the end of the year. I don't think it's going to happen. This is just what I'm assuming Cincinnati. We talked about this a little bit, huh, Alex, with is Cincinnati a well-run and smart organization? They are not. So this would be a move I could 100% see them making, fooling themselves into thinking that they can compete this year. And, they bring in Russ with the 2 great wide receivers, but Russ is done, man. We talked about it. The game plan against Russ is cover the deep ball, 2 high safety, and don't let him get the checkdowns easy. Because you don't got to worry about his legs. You don't got to worry about him getting out of the pocket. He's terrible in the intermediate game. I mean, there's just not much he has to offer. And it's like you saw even with the rookie Jackson Dart, like you even saw with the rookie with Jackson Dart, like just look at how much of an advantage you have just having those legs. Like we're in a day and age now where if you are not mobile as a QB, and we're not talking about Lamar, we're not talking about Kyler, like the guys who are running quarterbacks. Look at Patrick or even Josh Allen for that matter. Look at Mahomes. Look at Herbert. Look at oh my God. Hurts is definitely more in that Allen, Lamar category. But, as long as you're able to move and get outside the pocket, you need that
Baker
kind of mobility.
He's not the most fleet of foot.
Baker, yes.
He can move, though.
That was the one I was thinking of. Baker. Yeah, I knew it was one in the NFC.
Right.
And you saw Baker do it tons of times. That Houston game, what was it? 3rd and 24? Takes off for the first down.
He put the team on his back, though.
He did. He pulled a Greg Jennings, and he was just team all on his back. So if you're not as mobile, Russ at one point in time was mobile. If he's not like that anymore, you got to hang it up, my man. It's over.
I got you.
As far as Kyler goes now, he will definitely still have some. We got a super chat. Hold on,
John. I just want to give you a quick lesson. It's I before E,
and not after C.
After C, but. We got that, and I do not listen to her before games, but she does have some bangers if you're a fan of music. I mean, can't deny that.
She has no bangers. Sierra's got some bangers. Taylor Swift is a twig.
Hey, well, I mean, Sierra's got good music.
Are we talking about songs, or are we talking?
Yeah, I don't know. Are we talking about? Are you talking about cheeks or what?
He said bangers. I know what bangers are. They're arthritis-inducing.
Those are hoo-hoos. You got hoo-hoos and clappers. Bangers, totally different thing.
Stay away from them.
Oh my God!
You want to stay away from the clappers.
Oh man, that's
and that twig is worth like $1 billion. So
That's
true.
I'd be with the twig if I had access to that money.
Just saying.
Oh man. Appreciate you, John. Appreciate the donation. Love that.
Clap on.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
But yeah, as far as Kyler, he'll probably get another chance somewhere else. He's a number 1 overall pick. He's small. He can run. I'm sure another team somewhere out there that's QB needy or maybe needing a bridge QB will give him a chance. But Russ is out. Kyler, he's on his last legs.
Okay. So you do definitely say he's going to be out of Arizona after this year.
Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah, he will definitely be out of Arizona this year. Yeah,
okay,
that's already written.
Yeah,
go back to playing baseball, man.
He should have, man.
Because I told them, I said he should have stuck with the baseball. He should have stuck with baseball. Yeah, that's a good one, Cap. I like that.
I think the I don't know if the Athletics still have his rights, but see, there you go. You have Kyler Murray go to Vegas to play for the Athletics, and then Russell Wilson doesn't play for us, but they do. I got to take this. This is important. I'm sorry. Very sorry. Pardon me. I'm out.
Okay.
All right.
Coach Mike Dell, what you got on Kyler Murray? What do you think his future is in Arizona?
I'm actually not so quick to count him out. I think he's never had any type of help around him. I think he's the type that if he gets some weapons, then he could be serviceable. He's won some games single-handedly for them. I've seen, him that little scamper that he does and extending plays and
Yeah,
Runs like a
yeah.
toddler.
So
Tyler with
yeah,
your cell
like a
phone.
toddler.
Yeah,
Yeah, a toddler with his bath time.
When he
and he
runs,
doesn't
I
even look
think
at
of
the time.
that old Vine with the little kid that runs over and smacks the phone. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Big
that's
head.
exactly
the angry,
yeah.
angry one. Yeah,
Exactly what it looks like. Yeah.
yeah.
But I say all that to say that yes, it's frustrating to see them not take that next step. And he's been in the league for quite some time. You're still waiting for him to see it. But I think that he's serviceable. He just has to have some pretty good players around him in order for him to be there. And the Cardinals are a team. I don't think that they are. I don't think they're in a position to where they can, go get a blockbuster quarterback or go draft a superstar quarterback, and they're going to automatically make a difference anyway. Still going to have to build up that roster. So I think they stick it out with him. I don't know his contract details. Is he a free agent after this year?
No.
Oh,
I got
They
that
got him
pulled
under
up, though.
contract.
it right here. So he
Yeah.
got 3 years left on his deal.
Oh
Now,
yeah, I don't. Yeah,
cutting him outright is completely punitive. So we're not going to put that on the table. We're going to talk trade. So he has 3 years left on his deal with trade. That's advantageous to a team that's going to get him. You get him for 3 years, but we have to renegotiate his contract, and he's 20 years old. So he's 195 pounds, which is crazy. I didn't realize he was that small.
Yes.
yeah.
With
yeah.
rocks in his pocket.
mean, yeah, the trade value for him, I don't think it's going to be super high anyway. So I think they'll probably just stick it out with him, try to build some weapons around him. They are improving. It's just they were so bad anyway that it's still going to take them some time. But yeah, I'm not so quick to be out on Kyler Murray. I still think that he's serviceable. I still think he can win football games for them. They just got to get him some help around him.
Right. So quick note on the numbers. He's a $53 million cap hit next year. But if they trade him before June 1, he's only $17 million in dead money, and they save $35 million.
That's the ideal situation there, but it's almost like who wants to trade for him? Kyler's a guy you don't mind picking up if he's free, and you're like, take a flyer on him, first round talent. We'll see what we get. But if you got to give up draft capital, that's a whole different discussion.
Well, they're also talking about what type of draft capital. You can get a starting quarterback for a 6th round pick. That's a whole different conversation.
But like you mentioned,
building.
He's under contract. He's under 30 years old. I mean, there's a lot of things that work in his favor where he can, the Cardinals can be like, give us a second. You don't got to worry about paying him for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
He's, but I just very, very quickly, I want to quickly fight back on that. I think they've done a pretty solid job giving him some weapons.
Robert.
Sorry, Alex.
You already got to talk.
I'll let you go. My bad. I'll let you go.
No. But I do agree with what you were saying. I mean, he has arguably the best tight end in the league. They traded for DeAndre Hopkins when he was primo D-Hop, when he was actually Nuke. They've spent a top 5 pick on a Hall of Famer's son.
Yeah.
I mean, they've definitely built around him to
James
some
Conner.
degree. The only thing he really hasn't had is, I think a consistent running game, outside of his own ability. But I think we very realistically see them move on from him if things don't turn around in quick fashion for him. I think you could see the Cardinals kind of take a playbook out of the Broncos, a page out of the Broncos playbook is what I meant to say there. But what do they eat? Like $80 million to move on from Russ, and because they knew they had at least the inner workings of a competitive roster and just needed to get the right person in the offense. I mean, that might be a similar situation here. So what, a 57 mil cap hit if they do cut him? I mean, there's potential that could happen because, I mean, he's just not – I know I said it last week on our show, Coach, at the Fantasy Show, Lightning Fast Fantasy Football Podcast for you guys out there.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. But, I mean, no doubt in his ability to move around and improvise and get first downs when stuff hits the fan, but we haven't seen him progress or really develop as a passer, outside of some fluke scenarios like Hail Mary to DeAndre Hopkins and things like that. But I mean, I don't think in his career there's ever been a point when you've gone into a game against the Cardinals and you're like, we really got to contain this passing attack. It's, let's keep Kyler Murray in the pocket and force him to make mistakes because he can't read the field without having to improvise.
Booster seat.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, if it falls flat because they already lost James Conner, I think they're most of their money is QB and tied into this point. So I mean, you could very realistically see them move on from him and I think kind of start over in that regard.
Right. Well, they paying Sweat now, paying Josh Sweat from the Eagles. They paying
Yeah.
him. Yeah, so that's the only
I
one.
will also say I think it is somewhat tied to if they move on from Gannon or not.
Well, I think they moved on from Kyler. Remember, he didn't draft Kyler. So
Yeah.
I think Gannon is a desperate move to keep his job. Say, let's move off of him. Let's get a quarterback I really want, and then we can really see exactly how well I can coach. But because I think he has really good players on defense. I think the defense, I mean, from a personnel perspective, is really loaded on every level. But to your point, I think the delineation is the quarterback, and I think this is a point that I don't think anybody else has made, in my opinion. We talking about both these quarterbacks. I think height is an issue. In all honesty, the average lineman's height in the NFL right now is 6'3". Tyler and Russ are both 5'10" on the media guide. They may be shorter in real life.
On a good day.
He looks shorter than 5'10" to me. I'm
Good
5'11", and he looks shorter than me. So I think that his ability.
If that's the program height, he's really like 5'8".
Right. Right.
That's what cleats on, maybe fresh ones.
Right. And long cleats, the 1-inch cleats. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like 4 pairs of socks on too.
That part.
Metal spike tipped cleats,
Right. So the idea of keeping him in the pocket is the scheme to keep him limited, because he can't see down the field because he's too short, in my opinion. So you got these linemen standing up at 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", and him trying to see through lanes in the pocket, trying to deliver the ball. He just can't do it. I think that's been Russ's problem in general, because I think they kind of put that smut on him when he was in Seattle, saying he has issues with throwing the ball in the middle of the field. So I think it's a height issue. I think you need to have a taller quarterback, in my opinion. So I think that might be a reason why Kyler does not work at this stage of the game, is because he's limited. You know, he's physically, what is it? Heightly challenged. What is the word? Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
Vertically challenged.
Vertically challenged.
There you go, vertically challenged. So yeah, I think that might be what the problem is. So we'll see. But see, to RG's point, I think somebody can convince themselves into him being.
When I say Steelers, meet your 2026 QB.
There you go. There you go. Okay.
Younger Russ.
There you go. Right. Remix
Literally.
And hey, I guess this week will be kind of a tell, because they do play the Titans. So
if you think you're right there, then what do we do?
Yeah.
What do we do?
And it might get fired if they lose that game, man. That's inexcusable.
I'm saying. Okay.
Coach and all folks here, again, I'd like to apologize. The only reason why I caught that call was because it was a Raider for events this weekend, a former Raider player. And, and when you get them on the phone, you got to take the call. I would not disrespect your show for anything that was not important, sir.
Appreciate it. Business calls. I understand. Okay. Do you have any takes on Kyler Murray's future before we move on?
Yeah, go back to the A's or whoever wants to play in baseball.
Okay, that's easy. Okay, there you go.
Boom.
There you go. Short and sweet. All right. So let's move on down the line. Let's talk about some divisional talk. There's 2 divisions in the NFL that just don't seem to want to do anything noteworthy in their regard. It doesn't seem like nobody wants to win in these divisions, and it's typically not the case. I mean, you typically get competitiveness out of both these divisions, so I don't understand it. So the AFC South and the AFC North have problems. Top to bottom, we don't know what the Jags are. The Titans are a mess. The Texans, outside of winning the last game this past week, are a mess. And the Colts are at the top of their division. Nobody had that happening. I'm sure nobody had that on their bingo card.
Yeah.
Right. Daniel Jones, of all people, is leading that division.
Jones, baby.
The Browns are a mess. The Steelers, we don't know what the hell they are. They're kind of like the Jaguars. We just don't know day to day, week to week, month to month who they are. The Ravens are 1-3, and the Bengals are just a complete dumpster fire. So,
did we mention the Browns, or they don't even need to be mentioned?
It was a brief flyover.
Yeah, it was very brief. I didn't have much to say. I just said they're a complete mess, and we all know that. So it is what it is. So yeah. So let's start with the AFC North. I mean, that's it's a lot of our viewers. A lot of our viewers come from that division, and they give us a lot of feedback on our channel. So we'll start with them. Coach Mike, what do you take of the division, and why is it such a disaster? Who do you think is going to ultimately win it?
Talking about the North right now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's funny. I just actually saw a post that talked about the similarities between the 2012 Ravens and the Ravens this year. I think both of them suffered some early injuries, and then also they fired a coordinator halfway through the year and all that stuff like that. Saying all this to say the Ravens can still turn things around. I think when they're healthy, they're still a pretty solid team. The Steelers actually look better than I thought. So I actually don't think top wise, between those two teams, it's as bad as it seems. I think they're going to start getting things together. They still are the Ravens and they still are the Steelers. So I'm going to put some respect on their name. So actually don't think it's as bad as it seems. I probably would have swapped out this division for the NFC South. That's a conversation for another time, just because I just don't know what the NFC South is right now. But this is definitely the most disappointing, because coming in, there were talks about this being one of the better divisions in football when everybody was
and that's what
healthy.
they want the docket versus the South, because I think that they had high expectations for this division. They talking about 2 to 3 teams going to be good and be in the playoffs, and now we're looking at maybe one. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe one. But I think once people start getting healthy, like I said, for the Ravens, I think then they'll get back to what they're supposed to be. The Steelers are still solid. The Steelers aren't terrible. The Browns are who we thought they were. A lot of people weren't really big on the Bengals anyway. And then, with Burrow going down, I mean, what is it to expect from them? So I don't think it's as much as a dumpster fire as it seems. It's definitely disappointing. But it's still early, and I think there's time for them to turn it around.
Okay. The real AG Alex Gibbons, how do you feel about the AFC North, and what do you think the outcome's going to be?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of echo the sentiments of Coach Mike Dubb up there, in that, clearly the Steelers are looking like the most complete team right now, but they've had a more favorable schedule than the Ravens, who, have a championship-esque schedule and then got banged up pretty early in the year. So I do think that the Ravens, once they get healthier, commit to using Derrick Henry every week. And, I don't think that it's easy to just say, oh, the Steelers have this thing on lock. But I do think it's going to be kind of a race between those two for who wins. And I don't see another team making the playoffs out of the North.
Okay. Young RG, Robert Garcia, what you got on this division?
Yeah, this is just, this is what happens with injuries, and, the NFL is completely unexpected. Things can happen, change, the course. I think, I think if the Browns had anything at quarterback, I would probably take them to win this division, because if they didn't have a kicker with shaky legs in week 1, they beat the Bengals then.
Good point.
Their defense is more than good enough to keep them in a lot of games, in pretty much every game. And, it just comes down to, they got a great rushing attack. Quinshon Judkins looks really solid.
Yes.
It's just that quarterback position. And it really is upsetting when you see a team, the entire team is incredibly well-rounded. Mason Graham, their top pick, and, pairing him next to Myles Garrett. Oh my God, man. That team would be terrifying if they had anything other than Joe Flacco at QB. So just needed to give a little bit of love to the Browns.
They might soon. Who knows?
They very well might, So the only thing that really sucks with them is that they pretty much just wasted Myles Garrett's entire career. And by the time they're probably good and contending, he'll be either on the back end of his career or probably retired. But as far as who I think is going to win this division, I think with that injury to Lamar, and if he is going to be out 2 to 3 weeks, then it has to be the Steelers. I mean, they're going to basically walk backwards into this division title with the 2 injuries to the star QBs in the division.
Yeah, that's a great point. Which is crazy to me, because I don't think none of us had that happen. I think we thought it was a Ravens division to lose, and we don't know what the Bengals were going to be in the preseason, things of that nature, and we just kind of wrote them off, But clearly, according to Geno Smith, they didn't write back. So yeah, I don't know, man. But I'm a little more cynical in regards to the 2 teams that quote unquote we kind of looking at that should be in the front running when the season ends. I'm gonna start with the Ravens. The Ravens didn't look good before the injuries. If you want to be real honest about it, they didn't look good at all. And they can't stop anybody defensively.
Yeah.
Period. Healthy, not healthy, didn't matter. Now you're banged up, it's going to get worse. So I don't, from a morale perspective, I don't know what's going on from a coaching perspective, but they haven't been right since Mike McDonald left there and went to Seattle. When he left, it's been downhill. Zach Orr is the defensive coordinator, but he had woes last year. He kind of tweaked it and kind of patchworked it and moved Kyle Hamilton around and kind of made it better, but they still end up losing in the playoffs. I'm a little concerned about their production. What Lamar did and against the Chiefs kind of telling. I think Spags is exposing the idea of what you can do against him to limit him and kind of frustrate him and get him to the point where he's not as dominant as he has once was. If you pressure him and get people in his face, and he can't just scramble and extend plays and get the ball down the field. It's an issue. Mark Andrews is regressing. There's a lot of red flags there, in my opinion. Now, do they have the benefit of having two bad teams in their division, so they might just back into a wild card, worst case scenario? Possible. But I'm just concerned about the idea of them. We looked at them as a Super Bowl contending team to start the season, and I'm not looking at them now. And by just in week 4, we're just 4 games in, and I'm looking at it like they might be a wild card team at best. And the Steelers, I mean, I don't like Arthur Smith. I'm gonna start there. I can't stand Arthur Smith as offensive coordinator. I don't like it. And for them to be, questionable on defense, much like the Ravens, they've get up a lot of points. Their pass rush isn't the dominant, quote unquote, force that it's been in the past. It's a lot of issues there as well. And I think their offense can be stymied and limited if you have a good personnel on the other side. So I don't know. I'm really thinking that this division could get one team out if this trend continues, if they don't right the ship and clean things up. Because they both have the personnel to do it. It's just why they're not is just really the issue for me. That's where it falls apart for my money. But that's just my take on it. Captain Jack, do you got anything to add on this division disaster in the early going in the first quarter of the season?
Which are we talking north or south?
North. We're talking north right now.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of surprised that the Ravens are playing as shitty as they are. Okay?
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think that a team that has all of the makings that what they have with Jackson and their running game and their passing game, and all they have, they should be steamrolling, but they're 1-3 right now, and they might lose enough to not even be in the playoffs. The Steelers are iffy because you don't know what you're going to get with them, although they're playing better with some old dude that likes to smoke peyote, behind quarterback.
Right.
Okay, don't get okay. Allegedly, right. I want to mark myself for because Alex is my lawyer, for defamatory content. The Browns, like you said, Joe effing Flacco.
Yeah.
Okay, and yeah, we do, and thank God we do play the Browns. We do play the. Is this like my segue to the AFC South? So maybe the Raiders can get a win out of playing these teams. Like I said, maybe, okay, because we are playing Indy next week. Kind of that's what that phone call was about. We are playing Indy, the Titans. Maybe we can play after that, so maybe there's a victory in there somewhere. And hey, we're steamrolling for a top 5 pick, so maybe people will stop bitching about us not getting a quarterback in the draft. Okay. So we'll see, or at least some offensive linemen, because I'd rather the 2 years now, Fuaga and Membu are on the effing board when we need an offensive lineman, and there's plenty of good running backs, but no, they go right after the Raiders pick.
There you go,
Fuaga and Membu. So yeah, it's a disaster, and good luck to them, except when they're playing us. How's that?
Fair enough. All right, so we'll roll right into the AFC South for you. So we'll start with you. What do you feel about the AFC South, and why is it such a disaster? And who wins it, in your opinion?
Me?
Yeah.
Hell if I know. They all suck. Right as of right now, we have Indiana Jones leading that division.
Yeah,
and he's looked the best of that. The Jaguars are, the Jags. They're just you can't just Charger because that's already just taken by, Jags are going to Jags, Chargers are going to Charger. But the Texans, they had showed signs of life last week, but until then they were like, my God, what the hell is wrong with them? The Titans, like I said, there's some wins there for my team. Okay, there's some wins there for my team. But I mean, as of now, and things can change, the Colts got that division. In the North, I have no clue who's going to win that division because it's so topsy turvy.
I get it. Okay. Coach Mike Dell, what you got on the South?
I actually like the Jaguars. I like the Jaguars to win the division.
Wow.
I do.
Whoa.
I think.
Yeah.
I know. I think Cohen is getting his footing and starting to get things going there a little bit. Do I think that they're necessarily like a contender in the AFC? No. I just think that they're probably going to end up being the best team out of them. Aside from the Colts, everyone else just doesn't. They don't look like good football teams at all. Titans, self-explanatory. And then of course the Texans they're missing too many pieces. The offensive line is terrible.
Yeah.
CJ doesn't look good. They're also another team dealing with a lot of injuries. So yeah, I just don't see them turning it around. Not this year. Their defense was expected to be, really, really good. And they still are solid, but they just haven't been what we thought they were going to be. But I think I'm going to go with the Jaguars winning it. I think they may be, 9, maybe 10 wins max. So it won't be, like a super big thing or anything like that. But I'm going to go with the Jaguars to win the division.
Okay. Good stuff. Real AG Alex Gibbons, what you got in the South?
Yeah, it's just certainly one of the more interesting divisions right now because the team you thought was a sure lock to win it looks like total ass, and one that you thought would be not even sniffing any sort of relevancy is balling out right now with the castaway QB. So I'm not ready to crown the Jags right now, but I do think that it is between the Colts and the Jags because, I mean, Colts lost to the Rams, but they still look pretty solid and had opportunity to win, and they have a tremendous running game. They have they have a pretty solid defense, a great offensive line. So, like, as long as I want to keep saying Danny Dimes, but it's just that's not his persona anymore. As long as Indiana Jones, keeps being.
You got to give it to Indiana Jones, man. I'll do the song.
Yeah. But as long as he keeps playing the way he is, I mean, they're going to be a tough team to beat. And Jacksonville, I mean, we'll see. I do think Cohen's kind of getting his footing. He's standing 10 toes on business when people talk about him. He's setting that identity with the run game. But I think jury's still out on T-Law and kind of their passing attack and whether they can get that to kind of get them over the hump. But yeah, I don't really see the Texans turning things around in any time soon. I mean, they looked good, but it was the 0-4 Titans. So,
right.
Let's
how much
settle
stock are you
down.
really putting into that? Yeah.
Let's settle down a little bit on it.
Right. Okay. All right, young RG, what you got on the South?
Man, I'm gonna go against the grain here. Give me the Titans. No, I'm joking. I'm not. Ain't no way in hell. Nah.
That was my hot take at the start of the year. Not looking good.
No, I'm gonna stick with a hot take that I came up with after week 2. I'm gonna stick with Danny Dimes. Or sorry, man. Now you got me saying it, Alex. I'm gonna stick it with Indiana Jones. I'm gonna stick with them to win that division. Alex pretty much laid it all out. Dominant run game, dominant O-line, defense that plays well enough to keep them in games. And then just like with Daniel Jones, it's just don't turn the ball over. Like Alex said, I'm just gonna be pretty much copying everything AJ said.
Come on,
in that game against the Rams, they looked very impressive. A lot of people were kind of like, this is gonna be the litmus test now for the Colts. And although they didn't win the game, I can definitely, I think we can all agree they definitely passed that litmus test as far as like, okay, they are going to be, a real team, during the regular season. As far as when the playoffs come, that's a whole different story. But I think the Colts, I don't want to say pretty easily, but I think the Colts fairly easily walk away with this division.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna take a little bit of a hot take because I don't know about y'all, but I'm still waiting on the bottom to fall off for Daniel Jones. I'm just waiting.
I mean, yeah.
I'm waiting for the shoe to fall. I mean, he played good for the first 4 weeks, to our point. But I think that I'm just waiting for the shoe to fall. I'm waiting for him to revert back to, for that whatever that spell he had, whatever juju or root they put on him to make him play good for 4 weeks. At some point, it's going to run out. Cinderella got to go back, and when the clock strikes midnight, they got to go back and be the regular person. So I wait for that to happen. I think that from a talent perspective, I think that despite the O-line issues, I think the Texans still have a shot to win this division. In my opinion, I think they do. I think maybe this, last game they just played as a turning point to kind of build some confidence and get back to doing things the right way. They got a great defense. They got weapons on the outside. They're getting Christian Kirk back. They may get St. Dale back at some point. And CJ Stroud can, quote unquote, have faith enough to deliver the ball on time. Like he did in his rookie year. then they have the opportunity to potentially get back into the good graces of the division and maybe win it. But I think they have the best shot from a talent perspective, a coaching perspective as well. I don't trust the Jags. Again, I don't trust T-Law. I like what Leon Coleman's doing with the run game, but at some point, somehow, some way, T-Law's gonna have to deliver for you. And can he do it? Like you said, the Titans, according to Cam Warren, are complete ass right now. So they're just, we
Right.
can't have no faith in them. And I like the coach personnel. I just don't like the quarterback. So we'll see how things go. But I would take the Texans if I had to bet on it at this moment in time. So we'll see.
Not until we play them, but we play them late in the year. Damn it, they can get good until we play them. This is my lament for everybody this year. Come on, man. We need
after the Raiders game. After the Raiders game, I got you.
Win. No, they can play good, and then they can get discombobulated for our game when they're looking for, because it's at the end of the year and it's near Christmas, and they have tidings of Yuletide, whatever the hell that's saying, and then they can go back to winning.
Okay.
Come on, man. I need some wins here.
Fair enough. I understand. But if you want a high draft pick, do you need those wins?
The answer is yes.
Okay.
To all the, if we need a high draft pick, yes. Do we need wins? Yes. There's got to be a happy medium somewhere.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. So let's get into our cover forecast. We're going to rapid fire some game picks, and we're going to rapid fire some divisional picks. We're going to do a segment called Way Too Early. We're going to talk about divisional predictions in its entirety. We'll do who will win it. We'll go top to bottom. We'll run through it real quick to see what you guys feel about it this time of the year with the quarter of the games being done. Who's the leader in the clubhouse for each division. So, Coach Mike Dub, give me your leader in the division for the NFC. Run it down for me from top to bottom, east to west.
All right, East, I'm going to go Eagles.
Okay.
Let's see what we got. North. North, I'm going to go Packers.
Okay.
South, I'm going to go Bucks.
Okay.
And what's left? West. West, yep. This is the hardest one for me. I'm going to go Rams. It's close between the Seahawks and Rams, but I'm going to go Rams.
I like it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Captain Jack, give me a rundown. Who wins the NFC divisions, top to bottom, east to west?
The Eagles. That's stated correctly, by the way. The Eagles. I got the Rams out west. The North. I still like le campion de Trois Lions. De Trois Lions el campion. Still, I still like them. And then the South, unfortunately, because of all the crap that's there, the fake Pirates will have that division early.
Fair enough. Okay. All right, AJ, give me a rundown. NFC, top to bottom, east to west.
Yeah, East. Go with the grain here, I guess, and the Eagles. Just they look too good right now. I got the Packers in the North coming to the top, but I know we talked about it preseason being a competitive division, and it's looking like it so far with their record. Just look at the standings. Bucks have, I think, the South wrapped up, and then I agree with Mike Dubb that the West is the hardest, but I got to give it to the Rams.
I like it. Okay. All right, RG, what you got?
Man, I feel like I'm just going to be like a broken record here with these predictions.
I don't find anything different about it.
Yeah, I got nothing really
wrong with
that. I got nothing really to add on to that. I mean, going to go with the same answers that AG gave. Rams in the West, Packers in the North, Bucks in the South, and the Eagles in the East. I just think we're a little bit too early right now to kind of see if which team. I think like Eagles are obviously Super Bowl champs. They're showing that they're still in that caliber. Bills, I think Chiefs maybe might be. Ravens also kind of looking at some of the other teams as well. But in the NFC, I think that it's going to be more or less of the same. I think it's the lesser competitive conference between the two. Although maybe with some of these injuries, it'll be a little bit closer this year than we think. Although I will say though, for one that I will give kind of like a little hint for, I think the Bears are going to kind of come out of nowhere this year and kind of have a sort of like a resurgence following this bye week. I think this bye week for them, normally when you get an early bye week, you're kind of like, damn, right. You kind of want it a little bit more, week 8, 9, that middle point of the season.
Unless you're banged up.
Unless you're banged up. But for where they are, it's a great week to regroup. You're 2-2 after starting 0-2. So you kind of, the morale is a little bit higher in the locker room right now. So although I don't think they'll come all the way up and win that division, definitely be on the lookout because it will be a force, I feel.
Okay.
Hey, I'm the contrarian. I picked the Lions.
You did.
So,
You did.
That's
So
true. That's true.
We didn't have a different take, at least for one person. Yeah, I share the same sentiment. Although I'm with Cap. The Lions could. I mean, I'm not.
They still look solid too. I mean,
they do. I think the Packers getting that early win on them might be the delineation. But if they had to play that game over again, I think I said this last week. If they had to play the game over again, I think it's a different outcome. So I think that the Lions, only because they lost their first game, might be a one game shy of winning the division. But if the Packers lose a game like they lost in Cleveland, we didn't see coming. That might be a reason why the Lions win the division. So I would go either way. I could maybe hot take and say that I'm with Cap with the Lions, but the Packers definitely look good. But them again, that tie we talked about earlier, that tie might come into the play. Like the fact that they beat them once, they got that tie versus have no win or loss, might end up giving the Packers the division. So
it's interesting. I told you there's an interesting factor about it.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's go down to the AFC. So, top to bottom. Start with the young RG. What you got on the AFC side?
Oh man, this is probably going to be the more exciting one. I think. I feel like there's going to be a lot more different answers than over on the NFC side.
Yeah, we got to discuss the North and the South already. So just give you a clear pick.
Yeah.
On each one.
So for the North, I'll go with the Steelers. I just think with those injuries to the Ravens and to Lamar especially, if they can't win. If they don't win this week against the Texans without Lamar, it's going to be a rough go of it for the rest of it.
1-4?
You almost have to win this game. And then even worse than that, you're 1-4, and you're staring down the barrel of Lamar not even playing the next 2 weeks after that.
Yeah.
You're potentially looking at 1-6.
Yeah.
And at that point, what are you going to rattle off? 11 straight, 10 straight? That's not going to happen. I don't think that like we mentioned, that defense hasn't shown even when healthy that they can stop a nosebleed. So I think the Steelers are kind of like I'm going to mention backdoor into that one. I'm going to take
out back doors, man. Come on, man.
Pause button. Okay.
You know what? I that's fair. I walked into that one. Didn't walk into it backwards though.
Come on, man.
I like it.
A backwards back door? Hey,
yeah, that's just the front door then.
Hey, that's an LGBTQZ RXP question. Okay, there you go.
Whoa, I just got lost there.
Anyways,
I'm gonna take the Chargers to win the AFC West.
Okay.
I just think that it was a rough game against the Giants. I just think being 3-0 in the division already, barely a month in, that's a huge lead.
I agree.
And it would really just, again, it's going to need probably more injuries for this team to just completely fall off the face of the earth. But I like Harbaugh. I like where he's got this team. I like where he has the locker room right now. So I think they finally do come away with one. And then over onto the east side of it, pretty self-explanatory there. The Bills are going to steamroll that division.
Agreed. Okay. All right, Mike, what you got on the AFC side?
Bills, Jags, Steelers, and I'm gonna go Chiefs only because I worry about the injuries with the Chargers. Specifically on that offensive line side of the ball. So I'm gonna go Chiefs.
Okay. I like it. Coach, Captain Jack, actually, who you got on the AFC side?
The Bills are going to run away with the East. Although the Patriots, I think, are going to be a playoff team.
Okay.
I think they're going to be in the playoffs. The North, that's AFU. I don't have to explain that acronym, folks. It's very self-explanatory. As of right now, you got to take the Steelers because of the injuries with the Bengals and the Ravens, and the Browns just don't have a friggin' quarterback. The South, until he implodes, and I am willing to make my change on this later. I still got da 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 da, and it's not just because of him; it's because of their running game. Because their running game has always been something that's significant when they didn't have a quarterback. So I'll take Indiana Jones and the Colts. And for the AFC West, I'm not picking anybody because I can't effing stand everybody. How's that? Is that okay?
That's fair. You can abstain.
I abstain because I do not have.
I bite my thumb at the AFC West.
The words that would make me throw up would be, and if I was going to pick, it definitely wouldn't be the Garglers. So there. Okay.
Wow. That was mature. Okay. All right. Whatever. Okay. That's fine. All right, AG, what you got over there?
Yeah, East Bills for sure. Lock. Done deal there. For the North, I'm going to go Ravens. I mean, we've seen teams win their division at 8-8 or whatever
That's
borderline 500 record. It can happen, and I think that's the primo division to give us that type of scenario this year. So I'm going to go with the Ravens there. I'm going to go with the Colts in the South, and then in the West. Come on, guys! Like, we know who I'm picking here.
Shocker.
Chiefs, baby.
He's picking
We're
the
seeing
Suns.
vintage Mahomes in his prime. We're
Big
feeling
surprise.
good.
He's picking the Suns.
Fair enough. All right. So the Bills for the East. If I have to pick one for the North, I guess I have to pick the Ravens. I'm not sure about any of that. South will go ride with the Texans, maybe a hot take, but ride with the Texans right now. Of course, I ride with the Chargers in the West. So yeah, those are my picks for the AFC side. So we'll see how things go. We'll keep reviewing this, and we'll probably do this maybe once a quarter, see how we feel about our takes after another 4 games.
Love it.
All right, so let's do games of the week before we get up out of here. So we got some good games on the docket this week. All home favorites, ironically enough. So we got the 49ers and the Rams that start the week off, I believe. Is that the Thursday night game?
Yeah. It's Thursday night. Maybe no Purdy.
Maybe no Purdy. Yeah.
Probably not Purdy.
The Rams are favorite at home by 4.5. So let's start with RG, our betting analyst. Tell me who you like in this game and from a spread perspective, and we'll go around the room.
No, this is Rams all day, every day. Give me the points. Give me everything. Home team, better quarterback. I mean, there's an infinite list as to why this Rams team should win and dominate this game. However, it is a division game and it is a short week, so there is a lot of crazy shenanigans that could erupt from this game. But I'm going to take the Rams and I'm going to take the points.
All right. Okay, there you go. AG, who you got in this game?
Same. Rams points. I mean, Stafford, Puka are balling right now. I don't see that going away for this game. And 49ers, I think, are just too banged up. And I mean, especially if no Purdy, but even with Purdy, I mean, they're just so injury riddled. I don't see how they win.
Got it. Okay. Captain Jack, who you got in this game?
I got your Puka right here. Okay, that's all I'm going to say.
Jesus.
Self-explanatory.
Okay. All right. Go with the Rams. All right. Coach Mike, who you got?
Going with the Rams. I said all along I thought the 49ers had one of those false 3-0 starts. Everybody's talking about them and all that stuff like that. I think they're starting to come back down to earth. I'll take the Rams and the points.
I like it. Okay. All right.
All right, Broncos. Rams?
Yeah, I'm riding the Rams. Yeah. Hey, you know what my hot take was at the beginning of the season. So I said Bills. I gotta ride.
We shoot you in for the Rams unless you say otherwise.
There you go. Right. There you go. There you go. All right. So Broncos and the Eagles. The Eagles are favored by 5.5. What you got, RG?
I'm going to take the Eagles with the points as well here. This is going to be an insanely low-scoring game, I feel like. It's just going to be two dominant defenses going back and forth at each other. The reason why I'm going to give the upper hand to the Eagles here and by 6 points, so I would have them winning by a touchdown here, is just because they have the better quarterback. They have the better weapons outside. They have the better O-line. And, if you count the defenses as a push, and you're going to just line up those two offenses against each other, give me the Eagles every day of the week.
And they have the tush push, so yeah. So
they have the tush
and
push.
the fake tush push now. So
yeah. Okay, so you got Eagles with 5.5. All right, AG, who you got in this game?
Yeah, I agree. I think the Eagles win. I could see it being like a 10-3 win for the Eagles. I mean, it's kind of tough to predict the score because of the defenses, but Broncos offense has really not been all that impressive so far, even coming off of the game against JV Bishop Sycamore Cincinnati Bengals. So but yeah, I Eagles and points for sure.
Okay. All right, Captain Jack, what you got? Broncos and Eagles. Oh Lord.
Oh man. This isn't for OnlyFans.
Get it? No. I'm pushing my tush. Come on, man. It's obvious.
Okay, he's pushing his tush. All right. So you got Eagles.
Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
On this show, yeah.
Yes.
That's fair. That's a fair point.
Good point. I like it. All right, Mike, who you got?
Eagles and points.
Okay. All right.
Eagles and points, yeah.
I don't like the points. I like the Eagles, but I don't like the points. So if I had to pick, I would say Broncos don't cover, but the Eagles do win. That's my take.
Yeah, I think Knicks throws a pick in this game for sure.
Oh yeah. I mean that's that. Well, again, getting pressure in his face with Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter is going to happen. That's happening. So yeah, it could very well do that as well. In that secondary, yeah, I think he does.
And this time, the Eagles guy does not drop the interception that was thrown early. That's about all I saw of that game.
Yeah.
The game.
Yeah.
What's that? Cooper DeJean?
Yep.
Yeah. He gets it this time.
Got it. Okay. All right, Buccaneers at Seahawks. Seahawks are favored by 3.5 in Lumen Field. Who you got, RG?
Man, I'm gonna go with the Seahawks, man. I hate to be a favorite here, just going 3 straight favorites so far in all home teams. Yeah. But the Bucs are just absolutely decimated by injuries right now. They put up a valiant fight against the Eagles. I got to give them massive credit there. I don't give them too much credit because I thought they were going to win. Everybody else here thought it was going to be an absolute blowout, but they play the Eagles close a lot. I just think that it's, you're down so many injuries. The O-line's dinged up. You're still not going to have Evans back for this one. Egbuka, though, side note, we already talked about him so much. He looks like an absolute stud. He's here to stay. Yeah, he is a dog.
Certified dog.
But with all that being said, Sam Darnold has looked much more impressive with this Seattle team than I was expecting. So I'm going to go with the Seahawks here. And the points are a little scary.
A little bit.
But yeah, I would say just Seahawks money line on this one.
Okay. All right, AG, who you got?
Yeah, I really want to say Bucks, but with the potential of Bucky Irving not playing on top of everything else, it's hard to be confident in that. So I'm going to take the Seahawks. They've had a very explosive looking offense so far. I think they continue that. I kind of echo that the points are a little meh, but I think Seahawks win.
Okay. All right, Captain Jack, are you going with the fake Pirates this week, or are you going with
Hell no! Hags for sure. And by the way, the Bucks historically do not play well on the West Coast. They generally lose on the West Coast.
Oh, good point. Fun fact. Okay, so you're going with the Seahawks.
And RG even agrees with me. He knows. He studies this crap.
He does. All right, Coach McDowell, what you got?
Seahawks, but I take the Bucks to cover.
I like it. Okay. I like that. Man, my guy Nick Imawari is supposed to come back this week, so that's add to that already stellar defense.
Yeah,
and is number 1 in fantasy football scoring. If you fun fact of that as well, Seahawks number 1 in fantasy scoring right now.
And how many? Playing him in there, Coach? 5, 6?
Without Alex, I only have 3.
9.
Only 3.
Well, he has 9.
Alex
so
9.
I only have 9.
We have 12 between the two.
Technically 10 if you count my farm team that I drafted from.
And that's not counting your wife who has stuff too.
There you go.
It's called bonding with my significant other.
I got you bonding
over a mutual joy.
Indeed. All right, so I'm gonna roll with the Seahawks as well. The point's a little scary, like RG said, but I'm gonna roll with them. Like I said, and they don't play well on the West Coast when it comes down to the Buccaneers. So yeah, they got to travel all the way from Point, Florida, to Point, Washington, clear across the country. So yeah, I think that the Buccaneers take an L on this one. So I'm gonna go with the Seahawks. And I think we already know with the 2 sides of this coin this last game. Maybe 3, because I think Mike Dell's gonna ride with his squad as well. So I'm gonna start with AG and Cap on the Commanders and Chargers, and we'll roll from there. You're up, AG. What you got?
I'm up. Okay, yeah. Jaden Daniels for sure playing, correct?
Don't know.
It's not for sure.
Not for sure.
I think he said that though, right? Like that's.
It's highly like
that changes things, but I think the Chargers probably win this game, even with them being banged up. I mean, I think that the Commanders are equally as banged up. So if you're talking no Jaden Daniels, no Scary T, already kind of a banged up running back room, tough to ride with that.
I got you. All right, Cap, who you got in this game? Commanders at Chargers, and Chargers favored by 2.5.
I got the Commanders winning. Period. I don't know if the and yeah, it's out of spite because I can't stand.
I was gonna say I think we knew everyone's answer, but mine.
But here's the thing, though. Again, the Chargers got a lot of injuries on that O line. The Commanders' defense played rather well when they're up for it. Now, granted, they are going out to the West Coast. I'm not. Dub can tell me how they historically play on the other coast, but I will say that the Commanders' defense
We don't play well
limited
anyway.
quite a well, especially seeing it up front. But again, hope, pray, and Commanders on Sunday
Okay.
for
All
the
right.
win. I don't do points. I'm just saying.
I got you. All right, Mike Dub. I'm assuming you're going with your squad, right?
I am. So I mean, like I said, the Chargers are a tough team. The trenches, the injuries in the trenches. I heard something about Becton. I don't know. Is Becton playing? I'm not sure.
He was in concussion protocol last week, so we're hoping that he'll be cleared to
Yeah.
go for this week.
Okay,
Kind of similar
right.
to Jaden, where there's a possible chance, but
Yeah,
Right.
I mean that's what it's really going to come down to the trenches. And I like how Deron Payne is playing this year, like how our front
Yeah.
four is playing this year. So I think that could be a big difference. So I'm gonna go with the Commanders.
Okay. This game does scare me with that internal D line
Yep.
because it does not bode well for what we've been doing in our interior O line. And now we have issues at tackle. I think RG answered Kenna, but Deculus and Pipkins going to likely be our tackles. So yeah.
and you're hoping for Pipkins to be a
I was
tackle.
gonna say,
That's terrifying.
yeah.
If you got James on your offensive line, take the Commanders and run with it because he sucks.
I guarantee you, he does not suck as much as Bradley Bozeman does this year.
Yeah.
I would actually take James in a heartbeat because Bradley Bozeman is the 35th ranked center, and there are 32 starting centers.
I
Right.
understand that.
Yeah. So he's pretty bad.
Can't be, yeah, he's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Um,
So it worries me, but I have faith in the coaching aspect of it. Where are playing at home. If Jaden Daniels is banged up, if he does play, that's a. Actually, I actually want Jaden Daniels to play. I'm gonna say because Mariota and us playing backup quarterback is a bad omen right now. So not having clear delineation of what Mariota wants to do. I think that I would much rather face Jaden Daniels than the limited ability of him to run because he had a bad knee versus having to play Mariota, who's completely mobile. So mobile quarterbacks give us problems, and Mariota's unpredictable. So I'd rather much play Jaden Daniels at this point and live with that idea. But we'll see. But I'm gonna ride with my squad, but I think it's gonna be a tough game.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a tough game. Completely throwing away points in this one. If you were going to take points, take Commanders points. But I just feel like all these games without Alt and Becton are going to be a just nightmare for us.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how good your D-line is, and with the Giants, that might be the best front four in the league. If you just have an above average D-line against this O-line, you're going to dominate. Herbert is being pressured more than 50% of the times, on 50% of the snaps all season long. That you're just never going to win games consistently like that. And to your point, Coach, I want Jaden to play because he's most likely still going to be a little bit hampered coming off that hamstring.
Right.
And Mariota is also mobile, and that's the one thing our defense is terrible against is the mobile QB, as you saw against Dart this past weekend. I do think we have a good chance to win it. The offense can produce points as long as we give Herbert a little bit of time, and the defense has been playing very well, barring last week against a rookie, first-time start.
Right.
But I feel like this game will be insanely close the entire way through. There's going to be really nobody pulling away here.
Got it. I got it. Okay.
Pulling away, pulling out, That's
two different things. That's two different things now.
Hey, Rivers is out of the league, all right? We don't got to talk about that no more.
Right, exactly. Yeah. His pull-out game is terrible, but we'll talk about that another day.
Dadgummit.
All right, before we get out of here, we'll play a quick game. Go, do you believe? I got a couple of questions I got a question per person that I want to ask. I want to get you a quick take on it. So I'm gonna start with RG. Will Joe Burrow? I know you like this. Will Joe Burrow request a trade after the season?
Ooh, will he request a trade? Man, I don't think he does because he doesn't necessarily have the power and the sense of this organization has been doing him dirty. They went out and paid a ton of money for your two wide receivers that you wanted to keep there.
They did.
What was that? What time?
I caught myself.
He
caught myself.
You're learning from the pro, man. I can do that too, and I'm very good at it.
That was impressive. That was impressive, sir.
That was good.
But yeah, I just feel like he doesn't necessarily have a leg to stand on figuratively and literally, regarding
Wow.
that with
Wow,
with the organization.
that was a good one.
I like
Thank you,
that.
thank you, thank you.
I like it. I like
So
it.
yeah, no, I don't think he does because people would just look at him like, you pretentious mother
What?
lover.
Yeah.
All right, Mike Dub, you're gonna like this one. Do you believe that the Eagles are the new Chiefs? And what I mean by that is saying that they are what the 2024 version of the Chiefs was going to the Super Bowl. They're winning close games. They're getting a lot of breaks. They're not dynamically, offensively, blowing people away and things of that nature. Do you think that the Eagles are the carbon copy of what the Chiefs were last year going into the 2025 Super Bowl season?
I wouldn't say carbon copy. I still don't. I still don't see a lot of weaknesses with this Eagles team. Not to say that the Chiefs had a lot of weaknesses, but I don't know. I wouldn't say carbon copy. I think they're a little bit better. I think they're a little bit better. Yeah.
But
So
you see
I
the
believe
parallel
that.
what I mean, right? By how them, winning
Yeah.
close games, getting a lot of
Yeah.
breaks,
Winning. Yeah.
luck on their
Absolutely.
side, things of that nature.
Yeah.
The
And I
passing
mean,
game, the Eagles isn't great. They passed for like 2 yards in the second half of the Bucks game. So,
They
that
have
kind
like
of
negative -1 yards of offense in the second half or
Right,
something
exactly.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But to me, this is one perspective of looking at it. I think that shows how versatile they are. That they can win in multiple ways. They can win in tough games on defense. It's a positive way of looking at it.
Yeah, but that's not what people said last year, man. So I don't understand why
I
it's a
know.
different vibe,
Yeah, and
Right,
I said the same thing with the Chiefs. Like, like I said all along, it's hard to win in this league. People are going to try to take away what you do best. So if you're still able to win games when they take away what you do best, then I think that says more about your team and your culture of just winning games as opposed to being lucky or the football guys being in your favor. So I think I think that they are in that aspect. I do see the parallels. They're a winning team. They're a winning organization. They're going to keep winning.
Okay. All right. Now I'm dicing between who I want to ask this question to because I think I got two AFC West fans here, but I'm gonna ask Captain Jack. Do you believe that the Broncos are overrated?
No, actually, I don't. I think that the Chargers are overrated. Actually, I think the Broncos are playing above their head, but they're playing quite good football. If it wasn't for them coming in and losing, like on a BS, I won't say a BS call against Indianapolis, they could be just right up there with the Chargers. So I don't think they're overrated. I think they're a damn good team. I think that maybe they are overrating the quarterback as to his capabilities.
I like that.
But the team as a whole, no. Sean Payton has done such a good thing for the Denver team, and I did pick them to win the West this year.
I like it. Okay. All right, AG, to wrap this up, we're going to go to Minnesota real quick. Do you think there's going to be a quarterback controversy when J.J. McCarthy comes back?
No, not at all. Not at all. I do not. I don't think so. I think if there was going to be a quarterback controversy in any potential this year, they would have kept Sam Darnold in the building. I think you know what you got in Carson Wentz. He give you some flash in the pan moments, but you're not going to just bench JJ, once he comes back. And I think they strategically picked when to put him on the IR and when to bring him back, kind of getting more into the softer part of their schedule.
Fair enough. Okay, fair enough. All right. So that's going to do it for our Do You Believe segment. So as we wrap the segment up, we get any hot takes we got around the room before we wrap the show up? Any hot takes? Floor is yours.
Okay, I'll say this because now that I had a phone call during the show, and again, apologies there, but I was on the phone with Stuart Schweigert.
Oh, we know Stu. We know Stu.
Yeah, the ex-Raider player, and Stuart is going to be, or I should say, I will be with Stuart. Stuart's not with me. I got to get the order correctly. I will be with Stuart Schweigert and Chiki Okafor. We're going to be hanging out around various events in Indianapolis, and Graphic Raider Docs will be with us as well. So if you're Raider fans going to Indianapolis this next week, and I didn't bounce his name because I didn't. It was nobody's effing business that I was going to be hanging out with Stu, and I didn't want anybody to jump on. But he said for me to promote, so now I can promote. So if you're a Raiders fan going to Indianapolis, look for Stuart Schwager, Cheeky I'm going to screw up that name.
Okafor,
yeah. And Graphic Raider, a.k.a. Docs, and myself will be hanging out with events Friday night. We'll be going to watch Purdue on Saturday, but we'll be there for the Saturday night event. So there will, I would never name drop Sharif, not at all, for sure. Yeah, not moi. No. I remember the time that me and Bob Hope went. No, I'm just sorry.
Oh Lord.
But yeah, thanks again. But yeah, look for it. Hope to see everybody out for the events. And thank you there, Coach, for the. I could do it now.
Okay, awesome.
I got one.
Go ahead.
And it's not out of spite or anything like that.
Oh
Okay,
God.
let me just preface.
It
has nothing to do with any of your guys' squads either.
Okay.
So I don't really need to. Oh God. But
Thank God.
I think the New England Patriots hand the Bills their first loss on Sunday night.
Wow. I take for sure. All right, then. That is spicy. Okay. Do we got anything else? Any other hot takes around the room?
Man, I'm trying to look at some of these matchups this upcoming week, and I'm just like not loving anything here really to take an upset over.
Nope. Not at all. Yeah, that Bills and the Patriots one is spicy though, and it was a Sunday night game, right? Yeah. Solo game. That's
Drake May's playing pretty good. He's only thrown 2 picks on the year, man. That's that's crazy. I would
say that Alex's hottest take is his wife.
Wait, what?
Damn.
Because she's a good-looking, beautiful lady with intelligence and all that. So I'm giving compliments.
Okay.
I'm giving compliments.
I'll throw one out here just to dig this knife deeper for this Giants loss we suffered last week. I'll take the Saints to get their first win of the week this week.
Oh wow, yes.
I think that would just be so Chargers to lose to a rookie Jackson Dart and have him go next week and lose to the winless Saints.
Yeah.
That's just that's the NFL right there. So I'll put my ticket into that one.
All right, fair enough. Okay, all right then. All right, any more before we get out of here?
I give a compliment and I get oh man, he's nasty. I'm like, come on, man.
It depends how you interpret it. You know, people take things different ways. Pause if needed. So you know,
Alex knows that when I met him and his wife,
he's seen Kara. So yes, you have a bird's eye view of what he's working with. I understand. Indeed.
And tell her hi.
I will. Yep.
Okay.
I will.
All right, so if you're looking for the gang, you're looking for the Hit Squad, here's their socials. Hit them up on their social media platforms. If you need Commander's question for Mike Dub, Chief's question for Alex, or Chargers question for young RG Robert Garcia, hit them up on their socials. If you're looking for the Lockdown Divas Sports Network, NFL Nation Live Crew, forgot about the sliders in between it. NFL Nation Live Crew, they're there. Rough Gurus here on Twitter, Violators on Twitter, Captain Jack Rackman's on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So hit him up there.
There you go.
For any Raiders content or any ref questions or anything of that nature, hit them up. If you're looking for the Lockdown Divas Sports Network, this is our socials all across the platforms. Hit us up. Hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Let the algorithm know we're doing big things out here, trying to grow the channel to higher heights and deeper depths. And if you're looking for any of our subsidiary channels, the Electric Shock Podcast, Wild Chargers content is available there. Electric Shock Pod on all platforms as well. And if you're looking for fantasy football advice, the Lightning Fast Fantasy Football Podcast is there, ready available for you. Lightning Fast FF on every platform. We're getting things going there. Our live show is every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our channel. So hit that subscribe button on that channel as well, so you can get that live show and get your fantasy football team right for Week 5. But that's going to do it for us, man. Gentlemen, do you have any parting word before we get up out of here?
Yeah.
Good luck to everyone's team out there, unless you're a Jaguars fan.
Right.
Or a Dolphins fan.
And we'll have to come back and discuss with Mike Dub with how this Commanders Chargers game went, because it's definitely it's
gonna be a good one.
It's a house of fire this week. That's for sure.
That's why I'm kind of glad the Chiefs play on Monday, so I can actually watch most of the games. You know,
I like it. Okay. All right, so that's gonna do it for us this week. We'll be right back next week for our live show Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. right here on the Lockdown Defense Sports Network. Like I said, hit that subscribe button and let the YouTube algorithm know we're doing big things out there. Check out our content throughout the week. We're doing our insider videos all week long. The Chiefs insider videos for previewing that game. Chargers videos will be out, as well as Commanders video we're gonna be out. And it should be good and interesting this week because we're gonna get Mike Dub's take on his team and how they're gonna do against the Chargers, and we're gonna get RG's take on how Chargers gonna do against the Commanders. So it should be a good one. Should be a good one. So check that out. Check out all our videos and our content on the channel, and we'll be back next week for another live show. But in the meantime, between time, that is Captain Jack Rackham, that is young RG Robert Garcia, that is Coach Mike Dub, that is the real AG Alex Givens, and I'm your boy Coach Divas. Until next week, we'll see you when we see you. Step up and lock it down.